Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our regular meeting this Tuesday, March 10, 2026. First item is to approve our agenda, and that would include the consent lineup as well. So is there anything that anybody wants removed from consent? I do have number 3 on consent that I would like to move and put that down next to our emergency management presentation, just above that. But is there anybody in the public or otherwise on the commission that wants anything removed from consent? All right, can I get a motion with that amendment?
So
moved,
approved.
Madam Chair.
Second.
I've got a motion from Schmidt, a second from Commissioner Otten. Alicia, will you call the roll?
Is Commissioner Putnam with us? Do we know?
Yes, I am.
Fabulous. Commissioner Putnam?
Yeah.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries. Next, can I get a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So moved.
Second, Otten.
All right, Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Putnam?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries. First item on regular business is our Lincoln County Justice Center construction update. And we have Julie Dotzenrod from Tegra Group here this morning. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning. Again, this is Julie Dotson with the Tegra Group. We're here to give you an update on the Lincoln County Courthouse project. Today I have with Kyle Hubers from Henry Carlson here and Lynn Remmers from JLG Architects. We'll discuss budget, schedule, and some upcoming utility work. So with that, I will pass it over to Kyle, but after that, if you have any questions, just let us know and we'll come up and answer those for you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Kyle Hubers with Henry Carlson. I'm the project manager for the Lincoln County Justice Center project. Do you want to pull up that?
Just click.
Okay. Okay, so the project is progressing well. I'm sure you can see it if you've driven past it, but a little more behind the scenes. The site work has come a long way this past year. We were able to take advantage of, the good weather last fall and then early this winter. All of the curb and gutter work, most of the exterior landscape elements as far as footings, foundations, paving, bottom lift of paving is all in, as well as the exterior facade. We have all the curtain wall assemblies in, roofing, building enclosure, and most of the metal panel work is actually occurring now. That was originally slated for the spring. We were able to do that over the winter with the good weather as well. So have a lot of those exterior elements wrapping up soon. As far as the interior work, the third floor space is nearing some of their final finishes. We have wall coverings going in, carpet as you can see there, doors, hardware. So the third floor is, starting to look like a finished building already. As far as the interior build out, we're progressing third, second, first. So second floor is just a little bit behind with the majority of the drywall in, transitioning to ceiling tile, MEP assemblies, and then first floor is just a little bit behind that. So we foresee early spring being wrapped up with a lot of the drywall work, transitioning into a lot of casework and other elements like that. So yeah, schedule is going really well. So knock on wood.
You want to talk about those numbers I see of original 45,649,000 and we're at current at 41,889,000?
Yeah, no, it's not a typo. It usually goes the other way, but it didn't. So
Almost $4 million under.
correct. So yeah, that's an update that we're excited to share, and I know Commissioner Landine Naughton and our whole team have worked really hard from the beginning to find, cost reduction strategies and risk assessment, so we were able to find savings in the project, which is always good, so.
Kudos to them.
Yep, absolutely.
Kyle, what's going on with the concrete recutting for the elevator shaft?
The concrete recutting for the elevator shaft.
Yeah, does the concrete, was there any issue with regard to the size of the elevator shaft doors and having to recut concrete out there?
Not to my knowledge. There was a little masonry work really early on in the project, just with some nuances with the elevator assembly. Needed to add some fireproofing measures and have some steel reconfigured.
Okay, so nothing has to be done to fix the elevator shaft then?
Not to my knowledge. We have some work for the temporary enclosures that's going on. We had some block work that's, when we originally built the elevator shaft assembly, because it's masonry block, and it was early on in the project, we had to return the walls into that rough opening space in order to erect the steel around it. So once that's all completed, and then now we do have to cut open the CMU openings about 1.5 inches either direction, just as part of that final install, but.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
When we're talking about a potential Veterans Memorial, when are you going to start pouring actual concrete before we ever make up our mind what we intend to do or want to do on that one?
Right.
No.
Well, I'll move up to this photo here. So some of the remaining exterior concrete work, there's sidewalks, concrete steps, and some concrete around this plaza area. The Veterans Memorial, I think the tentative plan is kind of in this area just off to the edge of this photo. So we've got April, looking at the forecast, we're weather dependent on that, but we were planning on wrapping up some of our entryway work that required some of the larger lifts in this area at the end of the month. And then early April, we're looking to start some of the rest of the concrete work, but, we can work.
So it's about 30 days out?
Correct.
30 days,
Yeah, for
okay.
some of that concrete work.
All right,
But-
thank you.
With regard to this Veterans Memorial, what it says here is what we would do is we would amend the agreement with JLG to include the development of a concept rendering and cost estimate. How long will that take?
Well, I think that was the next, I think we're gonna expand on that a little more in that next
Yeah.
agenda.
I see Mr. Locke from Stockwell. is
But yeah,
here.
we can, yeah,
So we'll address that on the next agenda item.
yep. David Locke from Stock.
We can wait till the next agenda
Oh,
item.
okay.
Yep.
Well, I got you up there then. With regard to this issue, here's my concern, is one depends upon the other, right? With regard to this pouring this concrete. So what kind of interconnect or interplay is there between the pouring of this concrete and the building of this Veterans Memorial?
Well, we have some provisions we can do. There's a lot of concrete area in front that can be poured, and then we can leave out some sections adjacent to this area. And then allow a little more time for that design, development, and procurement. So we do have a little bit of flexibility in schedule in that regard.
Okay.
So we can hold off, some of the final concrete work adjacent to that Veterans Memorial until a little bit later in the summer.
Later in the summer? Okay. So basically, we've got, couple months to figure it out?
Well, that would be for the pouring, so we would still, I think we would still probably look in the next month or so being able to proceed to the next step in design. And then after design, I think it would be, 3 to 4 weeks for, design and concepts. And then we could get drawings for approval and pricing and then procurement after that. So there's about a 6 to 8 week lead time after notice to proceed.
Okay,
So the notice to proceed would be a little bit earlier, that we'd be looking for in the next 30 to 40 days probably.
okay, thank you.
Would it be any more expensive if you poured concrete and the trucks were coming and then you stopped and then had to call them back out?
Marginally,
Okay,
more logistics impact just for being able to wrap up some of that, and then as well as some of the adjacent landscaping and access for the trucks. We currently only have our bottom lift of asphalt on.
I can't hear you.
Currently only have our bottom lift of asphalt on, so we would also like to get some of that work in before we put some of our final asphalt finishes and site finishes adjacent to that area.
okay.
Okay?
And yeah, go ahead.
Yep. The other item here, let's see if I can navigate this. All right. So the last schedule item, kind of the big milestone that we have is the utility work along West Street, West Road Avenue. I think it's been referred to a bunch of different ways, but the road leading up to the project. So we have to tie in our main sanitary utility to Highway 18 and into the site. So this is just going to require some coordination with some of these adjacent residents and business owners. But we do have a plan attached just for our preliminary project phasing. So Phase 1 and Phase 2 is that deep utility tie-in work. So that will start at Highway 18 and then run to the south project entrance where we tie into our main utilities for sanitary and water. And that's the extent of this shutdown here. So we plan to shut down Phase 1 for probably 4 to 5 weeks. Throughout this whole shutdown, we will be able to maintain access to the businesses and residents either from the north or the south off of Highway 18. So this bottom kind of in blue outline, that'd be Phase 1. Phase 2 in the orange there, that'll follow suit probably in that 4 to 6 week time frame. So that would be a full closure there to get the deep utilities tied in. And then after that, utility work is done, road brought back up to rough grade, would open back up to, local traffic only. And then basically the extent from our north entrance all the way down to Highway 18 would be fine grade and then a new asphalt surfacing over top of that. So it'll be a fairly lengthy project, but we do have phasing and have coordinated quite a bit with our subcontractors to find some plans to alleviate the pain for those residents and business owners the best we can, so. Any questions on that portion? Okay. Any other questions as a whole, budget or, okay? Well, thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. All right, yeah, come on up, John.
John Rombo, Building Superintendent. So it's kind of seems like the Veterans Memorial is going to be the subject of conversation here, but basically we're at the there's been discussion for many years about the county making a Veterans Memorial in combination with either adding to the city's Veterans Memorial, which is on the backside of the courthouse, or something a standalone all by itself. But anyway, what kind of progressed is Commissioner Schmidt has always been a high supporter of this type of project. And we were discussing, and I thought that we better get thinking ahead of the game if we're going to add it to this future project, just because we might need to modify things and obviously save some money by not pouring concrete that we'd have to tear out later. So we met with Stockwell Engineering and we came up with this proposal. So I guess I'll turn it over to Stockwell to let them discuss it.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's David Locke, lead landscape architect with Stockwell Engineers. We're working with Lynn and JLG on this project. As John said, the Veterans Memorial, we discussed, our scope that we would go through is that we've identified, as Kyle pointed out in the previous item, location potentially between the two parking lots off to the side of the building where it would fit kind of seamlessly with the current site plan and also potential future build-outs that may occur at the campus. And so what we would do is we would develop a concept and do some renderings. So we'd do some 3D perspectives of what it could look like. And we would then work with Kyle and his team at Henry Carlson to develop what the construction costs would be for the add to the project. We would bring that in front of the board here and determine if that's something that you guys want to proceed with then for the renderings, the cost of what that construction cost would be. And then if everything was to be approved, then we would move forward with incorporating it into the construction documents that we already have put together for the site and the site work. So we would incorporate this change in design into those documents so that way we can move forward with Henry Carlson and getting that built in a timely manner. Hopefully have that done before it opens here this year.
How long do you think that would take just to get the engineering part of it done?
The concept and renderings, we'd get started on that right away. So I'd expect we could have that done in probably 2 weeks. And then, that would give Kyle and his team then some time to develop some costs of what that would be to add that to the project. So I think we can have, in the next 3 to 4 weeks, a good idea of what this would look like and what this would cost to add to the project. After that, we're probably looking at, once that were to be approved, we're probably looking at 2 weeks to put together the construction details and add some of the elements to the construction documents, and then put it out for formal pricing with Henry Carlson. So as Kyle said, we're probably from approval of this for us to get started on the design, probably 6 to 8 weeks before it's something that we're looking at putting into, the construction documents and procurement process. There are some, items in there potentially with the design, that would have a little bit longer lead times, and so the sooner that we can get that stuff ordered, the better. We've talked about whether that's, the monuments for the different, military branches, if those are some sort of stone or granite, just having time to allow those to be fabricated and shipped to the site. They're a specialty item, and so we would want to make sure that we've got time to get those incorporated for opening.
So this cost of $26,950 is just for the renderings? It's not for the final cost of the memorial itself? So somebody's got to have an estimate of what it's going to cost to finish it?
Correct. This is for for us to do the concept design, the renderings, incorporating it into the construction document, so doing the detailed design for it, and the additional, construction administration for us to come out when it's getting built. There's a lot of details that go into veterans memorials, and so we would work closely with Kyle and his team to make sure that those details and the construction of it come together appropriately.
But someone has to have a reasonable estimate of what it's going to cost to finish this. Do you know what
Correct.
that would be?
Yep, we don't know, because we don't know what we're designing yet. We don't have an idea of what's
Somebody
being
has to have an
designed.
estimate.
Right, that'll come with this process.
I understand that, but somebody has done memorials in the past and should know kind of what we're looking at for a future cost, because it's not just going to be $26,950.
Correct. Yeah. We've developed, one of the memorials that we looked at with Jim and John was a memorial plaza that we did at the University of South Dakota. That's, this memorial here with incorporates some pavers.
Set it here.
Oh, sorry. Perfect. That's a memorial plaza that we did, that was about 6 years ago. And that cost, altogether was $200,000. And so there's some things here, that we would not incorporate. We wouldn't incorporate flagpoles into it, that we already have the flagpoles set for the center of the roundabout. So that would be, a cost that would not be incurred. The larger elements that you see here in the middle and on the sides, those are Medal of Honor monuments for recipients of University of South Dakota graduates that have received the Medal of Honor. And so that type of a larger monument, I don't know if we would incorporate one of those or not. We haven't really talked through, everything that we would want to have as a part of this Veterans Memorial.
You had a simpler design, didn't you, that you were talking about? That was just the smaller pillars?
Well, so on the back
Yeah,
side
right
of the,
there.
yeah, so that's in this,
Okay.
along the back side here. There, we did some monuments here. These are black granite polished, that have a white engraved insignia of the different military branches. This one also incorporated the National Guard. The National Guard is not typically incorporated into like Veterans Cemetery. So we did the South Dakota State Veterans Cemetery that's northeast of Sioux Falls. Out there, you will not find any reference to the National Guard. It's just the Department of Military, official Department of Military branches. But with the University of South Dakota and the veterans groups there, they felt it was important to incorporate the National Guard insignia. You see that here on this last monument. They felt that that was important to incorporate it into the Veterans Memorial, and so we did that.
So if 6 years ago, this whole thing cost $200,000, what is the upgrade for what you feel it's gonna cost now after 6 years of everything going sky high?
Typically, we assume a 4% increase a year is typical for construction costs, and maybe Kyle can probably talk to that a little bit better. But like I said, there's some elements in here that we would not be incorporated into this memorial. So we wouldn't have the flagpoles. We don't have as much space, so we wouldn't have as many pavers. Like this location here, we incorporated in the centerpiece here, a circular paver plaza area that the families or veterans were able to donate money to the project and purchase a paver that was then engraved. And so that paver plaza was there to have engravings for, veterans and their families or donors to the project. That's a larger plaza. We also had more space there. I don't think we would have something quite as large incorporated with this design. But I think, and again, this is all stuff that we'd have to talk through, probably with Jim and John in terms of different elements that would like to be incorporated. But I do foresee, incorporating a paver element to it to allow the opportunity for donors or families, veterans' families, to be recognized as a part of the memorial.
We also talked about the fact that we probably wouldn't have to use black granite. We could talk to the Everest Company
Yep.
and look at their stone and a contribution or something, which would save lots of money, because those are very expensive, the ones that you cite there.
Yeah, I think we also did and I didn't bring any pictures of that. I should have brought that. I apologize, Jim. We did the Veterans Memorial at Del Rapids. When you get off the interstate, head into town, and then on the north side of the road, kind of by Rocky Run Golf Course, there's a Veterans Memorial Park that we did the design of in conjunction with LG Everest, and they donated a number of the materials for that facility. We did kind of taller, polished quartzite elements that then had the seal for the different departments, Department of Military branches on the different quartzite elements there.
Couple questions, either for John or for yourself. So I've seen a couple renderings floating around. John sent me a couple. Are those something that's being contemplated? I mean, or I just want to make sure that I'm understanding that, John. I think you sent me via email some,
So what I sent you via email was just the proposed location on this site
okay,
for
Okay.
this type of setup.
okay. And could you just, for the benefit of the commission and the public, just kind of give us a 30,000-foot overview of where we're looking at? Well, either one of you.
So what we've talked about is, that there's been the potential discussion of having, potentially veterans designated parking areas. This is where the ADA parking area is for the facility, access directly in. What we've talked about incorporating is, access off of this sidewalk and, more of a maybe rectilinear design of the Veterans Memorial in this area with, potentially access kind of maybe on either side, coming off the parking lot, coming off of this sidewalk here, and coming off of this parking lot. So you kind of have three access points, and then developing, more of a rectangular design of those memorials in this space with some benches potentially incorporated into it. So that's kind of the area that we've talked about. We did, we pulled this up on the whiteboard in our office, and we just kind of sketched a couple of things just to see see what would fit in there potentially. I think it's a good spot, and I think we can make it work to get it fit in there. And so that we've talked about a number of ideas, and so the next step is getting those ideas on paper and a design ironed out that everyone's, happy with, that we can get, some costs from Henry Carlson to determine what that final cost element will be for this memorial.
Yeah, and thank you for showing that, by the way, I appreciate that. Just the one major concern that I had was, in terms of the timeline, you come back to us and you show us what you've dreamt up, and we approve it or we don't approve it. I want to make sure that there's enough time in there to be able to run that past the various veterans groups in the county here and/or veterans organizations. That's just the concern I have, and I'm wondering, could you address that for me?
Yeah, I'd say, we can certainly do that. That's not a problem. We would, we'd want to get started on the design then and developing these renderings as soon as possible, so we have that time to go through and meet with those groups. And so, if we come up with a concept, in the next 2 weeks, and we can then, start meeting with those groups, then I'd say probably, what is it? It's the 10th already, maybe the end of this month or first part of April, and then get, and in the meantime, work with Henry Carlson on developing costs for the design. But I think that that's certainly something that, getting the veterans groups involved, or at least letting them, provide feedback on the design is absolutely not a problem, and something that we've incorporated on a number of these projects.
Yeah, because I've talked to a number of, commissions and city councils, and they all seem to follow a standard practice. I shouldn't say standard, but they all seem to, they invite the groups in.
Mhm.
Well, we ought to do the same thing here, of course.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure, and it doesn't need to be very bureaucratic. I mean, it doesn't mean you're going to 6 different organizations' monthly meetings. Maybe it's just as easy as doing an open house here after we've invited all the various organizations, to come to one meeting, or we simply share renderings with, via email with the organization's leaders or something like that. But I want to make sure they have an opportunity to see this and have an opportunity, because it does seem to be the community standard, if you will, around here, is the various groups come in and they get an opportunity to take a look at it.
That is a process that we do for many, many, many of our projects. And so, and yes, we don't have any issues with doing that. We've facilitated public meetings. I've got one, stakeholder and public meeting scheduled for another project we're working on here in the next couple of weeks. So it's a process that we're very familiar with. We just hadn't talked about it as a part of this, but that is certainly something that we can do and would love to incorporate as part of it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure in terms of the timeline, that action item is built into your timeline of this process.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say, yeah, we can add that in. So I'd say we'd want to be meeting with the groups. If we can get approval to move forward on this, then we get started on the renderings right away, and we'd aim to have something sent out to the groups here the end of this month or first part of April, get some costs put together, and, if everyone is on board, then, we would want to get those incorporated in the construction documents probably, by the end of April, so that Kyle and his team can get going on ordering materials and incorporating that into the design. So I think the sooner we can get started, the sooner we can, get this process going.
No, and I appreciate that, thank you. And
Yeah.
just one side question. You brought up the Medal of Honor statutes or pavers up there. If I'm not mistaken, isn't there like a state law that provides for certain monies to be provided to create Medal of Honor memorials or something to that extent? And I'm not asking you if you know the law or anything. I'm just asking you, out of curiosity only, did the state provide any money for that USD project at all?
I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
The Medal of Honor memorials, the stone the stone here that you see here with the stars at the base of it that are the Medal of Honor pattern, that was a part of the project. The plaques, there's plaques that are on top of it that talk about each of the Medal of Honor recipients. Those were developed by USD and their art department and students there. So those were designed and cast by students at USD.
Okay.
I believe it was all fundraising for the project. I'm not aware specifically of any state contributions.
And then, just in terms of what in your mind's eye right now, what you're thinking, because maybe this goes towards what Commissioner Otten's concerns are, kind of, can you give me a swag of what's this gonna cost, right? What we're looking at is more of each of the individual departments, Department of the Army, Navy, so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, each of those monuments, if I recall, 6 years ago, I think those were, those are on footings as well, just to make sure that we don't see any movements.
They don't sink into the ground.
Right,
Yeah.
yep. So I want to say that each one of those was about 10 grand.
Okay.
So, so that's, and so then incorporating, the sidewalk, the landscaping, the pavers, in addition to that, you're certainly, by doing it with this project, you're certainly, saving money in regards to doing it after this project is completed, because you've already got a contractor on site.
Yeah.
You've already got the trades on site that need to do this project. So in terms of mobilization costs, and overall general conditions, there's some savings to incorporate this into the project as opposed to waiting till later to do it.
Yeah, that was gonna be the next question, and maybe this is for Henry Carlson, I don't know. Are you guys, are we gonna need to bring in a whole new contractor to do this, or are you guys able to do that, or how's that gonna work?
Yeah, we're absolutely able to do that.
Okay. So we don't need to mobilize a whole nother landscaping company to come in and do this, do we? Okay. All right, thank you.
I just have one thing else to add, and because it's occurred to me that probably some people in the public don't really know this layout. What we're looking at here is the public parking area. You come in farther south, farther down below here, and that's the primary access to the courthouse. This is right here, the primary entrance to the courthouse, the Justice Center. This up here is employee parking. So right now, all of these are trees that do not exist yet, but they're probably purchased and they're hoping to plant them soon. And then again, and probably some of these trees in here have not been planted as well. So obviously, in perspective, these are drawn in to be what a mature tree would look like in that site. They're gonna be small little trees once we open it. But the one dilemma we'll have is if we approve this, we don't get it done prior to the opening, is this probably won't be extremely attractive during our grand opening or whatever, however we do plan to open this facility.
What, on the trees, I mean, Dave, you could design it so the trees that we have in order could still be part of the memorial,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So we could place trees potentially.
I think we'd want to put the footings in for them, the monuments prior to
Sure.
planting the trees.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have every confidence, having worked with landscape engineers on my own projects for my own houses. They are people with wonderful imaginations, and I'm sure they'll be able to dream up some incredible, beautiful-looking memorial. And I have every confidence they'll come back to us with something that can incorporate the environment and the trees and benches and memorial and all of that, and make it befitting the residents and the veterans of the county.
All right, commissioners, any other questions for our
I do.
presenters?
I'm very concerned about the timing of this. I think it was an afterthought, and this is very late in the game of what we've been doing all this time for the Justice Center. And so my deep concern is that we're not doing, or not even considering National Guard. I mean, our National Guard has been called out several times by Governor Nome, and then not to recognize them at Lincoln County when we're the third largest county in the state. But I really think that the cart is before the horse. I believe that Lincoln County, my personal opinion, that we should donate the land for the memorial, that nobody has to pay for it, but that this should be a community project, that the community and the other legions and that kind of stuff need to come together and donate the monies to put this project together. It should not come from Lincoln County. Again, this was never in the original costs. My understanding, Julie, is that right? This was never in the original costs for the Justice Center. And then I apologize to Mr. Schmidt, or Commissioner Schmidt, but I didn't know about this ahead of time. Nobody talked to me about this before all of a sudden it became a big issue, and it's now on the agenda. Because just last week, we talked about the EMT services in Lincoln County, that Lincoln County needs to now look at contributing to the sustainability of our EMT services. And so to me, this should be a community project, not a Lincoln County project, and it should include the National Guard. So that's where I'm standing. So I really believe this should be a community project by community funds, not by Lincoln County funds.
Can I speak to some of that?
Sure.
Commissioner Otten? First of all, let's go to the National Guard. I appreciate what USD did for the National Guard. The Army National Guard falls under the U.S. Army. I myself was a U.S. Army reservist. Well, where would I be recognized in this? Where would the Air National Guard be recognized in this? Where would the U.S. Navy Reserve be recognized in this? So that's why we didn't, and that's why you typically don't add the Army National Guard. I get it. A lot of people have given it all for this state in the Army National Guard. We have a proud history of that, And I could see probably that's what was considered when USD did that. So then to move on to some of the other things you said, we started this, obviously we're here because was it an afterthought? Maybe a little bit. We should have probably been on this six to 10 months ago, maybe more. But, my goal out of this was, let's get the spot picked out and then let's do the fundraising later. The engineering is always going to cost somebody some money. I thought that would be a good thing for the county to invest in, to engineering, to have it put in right, to have it planned right. And then we'd have a plan that we could take forward and present to fundraising for the different National Guard, or the different veterans groups or the different donors. And then we would have something that we could present to them, to show to them. And that's what the investment of the $24,000 would be, is to give us that piece of material to go forward.
All right, yep. And just to interject, this has always been talked about, never was part of the original project. And one of the main concerns was the cost. I've talked to folks about it, and, well, what do you want to do, is the question that you get. And so this is going to give us something to say, well, here's what we want to do, and then maybe be able to get those fundraising dollars to actually complete the project. So I think we do need to do this portion of it if we're going to do anything at all.
And I know that they did their memorial with pavers for families and service people and family members, as Jim Schmidt knows, to make that T memorial a reality.
Yeah, and to address John's remarks, I've been a member of the active duty Army, been a member of the National Guard, and I'm a current member of the Army Reserve. So I've been a member of all three components. And to Commissioner Otten's comments, it's generally understood in the National Guard and Army Reserve that you fall underneath the Department of the Army. Just like when you're in the Air National Guard, you fall under the Department of the Air Force, because there's also Air Force Reserve. And then there's also Marine Corps Reserve, which falls under the Marine Corps, which falls under the Department of the Navy. And so the way it's understood by veterans is that not every single unit has its own. I mean, you'd have 100 pavers out there, right, John?
Right.
It's each of the federally recognized. Now, it is very nice to recognize the National Guard, but then logically, what you bring up then, Commissioner Otten, is, well, what about the Army Reserve? What about the Marine Corps Reserve? What about the Air Force Reserve? And so hopefully to alleviate your concerns, I'm just here to inform you that people who are in the service roundly understand that they are being recognized when it says Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Space Command now is a new one, Coast Guard.
All right.
Right.
Is there any public input on the presentation?
Good morning, Sherry McKinney from Canton, South Dakota. I agree with Betty with the price. And this is something that doesn't need to be done for the Justice Center to be opened. And I believe that, again, Betty said cart before the horse. I do believe that a Veterans Memorial is very lovely and needed. But I also think that instead of having JLJ, that design, that you actually look at local contractors who do landscape, hardscape, and design, because we have obviously, Mr. Aarons knows that they are very capable of designing and putting these kind of structures in. And you also mentioned about memorial stones. I think there's some memorial stones out in the park right behind us. Could those be reutilized in the project? And if you're going to be buying more or new stones, how about looking at a Lincoln County company that sells memorial stones and keep some of this money that you're spending in the county for the taxpayers, benefit some taxpayers with this money who will ultimately be taxed for this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public input? John, you can have a seat.
Beth Quayle from Harrisburg, and I completely agree with her. Also, thank you, Commissioner Otten, for bringing this up and looking at the cost. I really appreciate you standing up for some common sense, and also Commissioner Aaron's, too, for your questions. I, too, feel that this could be something that could be done by a different company. You'd have bids. Right now, you're just going to get whatever they're going to tell you. And again, get more people in the community inputs. And again, a firm from Lincoln County would be nice to do this. So I would ask you to look at this differently and bring this to other bids and get something that is beautiful, that honors our veterans and looks at the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public input this morning? All right, if not, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, before you take a vote,
We'll take motions and then
Okay.
we'll have discussion.
also move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Schmidt and from Commissioner Aaron's. Now discussion amongst the commission. Go ahead, Commissioner Schmidt.
Veterans Memorial has been talked about for probably the last 15 years. Just a brief history, this commission has offered numerous times to the veterans group here in Canton to move their memorial to the front of the building at no cost. And at that time, we were turned down every time that this is Canton's memorial and they want that to stay here. As far as fundraising goes, we went out and tried to raise those funds to secure moving of those. And I think we raised a grand total of $1,200 from a bank here in town and from various things. Maybe I'm Pollyanna-ish, but why is it such a hard issue to honor those that have given their time and in their treasure and their life to honor our veterans? I mean, my God, these are people that have defended this country. They have done it with honor. They have done it self-serving. And now we're engaged in another conflict where we have 7 young men that have given their lives so that we can benefit from a free society. So when you start putting a dollar sign on some of that, I think to myself, my God, what happened to all those volunteers that come stand forward? Did we look at dollar signs at that time? In answer to a question, we have an opportunity to open a beautiful facility that the Lincoln County taxpayers are going to be very proud of and is going to serve us for decades. So why not have, at that particular time, this memorial ready to go so people can appreciate not only the building, but they can appreciate a memorial and know that Lincoln County is appreciative and supports their veterans. I think if you go across the state of South Dakota, you will find memorials that other counties have put up at county expense and are very proud of it. And I don't know that anybody had a backlash to say that that was money wasted or anything else, that it was money well spent. So I would hope that we can get this thing kicked off. I know we've talked to the engineers from Stockwell. They have a great team to do that. And it's something, when it's all said and done, we can be proud of. and say we did something right. So I would encourage a yes vote. That's where I am.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, please keep it brief. We've got a long agenda this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My biggest concern today was making sure that the veterans groups and other stakeholders would be consulted. And I think that issue's been resolved for me today. Prior to coming in here, I did want to have those questions answered, and that's been answered for me. With regard to the cost issue, well, first of all, Commissioner Schmidt, thank you for your comments, but I was wounded in combat. I'm a combat wounded veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. I know what it's like, okay? And I'm not sitting here jumping up and down saying, I need to have a memorial for myself. But I do think it's important to have a memorial for others, and as well as for those who have served. And Commissioner Otten, nobody consulted me either. Nobody consulted, they had come to me with all of this. John just started sending the renderings around, a couple weeks ago. But it is important to recognize the veterans who give it all and have given it all. They've given their lives, some have given their limbs for this country. And it's important to recognize that. And frankly, there's a community standard in this state, and that community standard is we do have at all courthouses, we have a veterans memorial. That's just the way it is. That's what the community expects. And so I think the community, we live in a frugal county. And people do want to make sure their tax dollars are spent well, even though they do love the veterans and want to make sure they're highly regarded. So my concerns were answered this morning, and I'm okay moving forward with this. And we're going to get some estimates, and you will get a second bite at the apple here in order to ascertain whether it's a dollar amount that is acceptable to yourself as well as to the rest of the community. So I'll be supporting it.
I want to make just a short comment.
Yep, go ahead.
In response to Commissioner Aaron's and Schmidt, I want the public to know that my family and my husband's family have proudly served this country. So I am in no way taking away a Veterans Memorial and what that means to the community. What I am concerned with is the cost, and I think that that could be provided by the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Other discussion? If there is none, Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Putnam?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Otten?
No.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries. All right, next item on our agenda. Sherry, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Sherry Lund, Lincoln County Auditor. I'm here today to ask that the June 2nd and November 3rd commission meetings be moved to June 4th and November 5th due to the primary and general election, and to set the rescheduled days as the county canvass of their respective elections.
All right, you've heard the request. Anybody have questions for Sherry? If not, is there any public input? If not, can I get a motion?
Approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Putnam?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes. Motion carries. Next, we've got advertising for bids at the airport. David?
Good morning, Dave Myers from the airport. About 2 weeks ago, Mr. Meter and myself met with the officials from Bismarck, the FAA officials, to go over grant assurances throughout the airports in the Midwest. And our grant came up to start phase 1 of the South 20 acres, which is the infrastructure for the taxiways. So we talked a little bit about our airport and how it's moving forward and what we've done in the past, and they 100% agree with moving forward with phase 1 of the infrastructure for the for the taxis in the south 20 acres. So we were approved for that grant, and the grant, just I'll show you, this is from Helms here, that the total cost for the project would be around, this is just an estimate from them, is around $900,000. And it's broken down there where the county share of that would be 2.5%. So it's a very minimal cost for what we would get back from that, from our ground leases. And when we start phase 2 of that, of the building hangars, we can see a really good profit from that by building hangars and so forth. As I move forward down here a little bit, I'll just show you, I think it's this one right here. This is kind of what the area would be, is right here. And the building of the hangars would be right here where the cursor is, would be for about 15,000 square feet. And on the back side of this, where would be the larger hangars, for more corporate hangars and bigger aircraft, back here would be around 20,000 feet. So a total of 41,000 square feet of hangars that would be phase 2, which would probably start, we're thinking phase 1, if we advertise this, would maybe start the construction in July, August, and maybe be completed by the end of the year. Then phase 2, where either the county can we could talk about building hangars, the T hangars in this first area right here, or have a private developer do that. And I think it would be best, cost advantage would be best to have a developer do it instead of the county taking the risk of building hangars and the maintenance and so forth like that. So right now, I'm asking, or as the motion says, if we can advertise for the start of the infrastructure of the phase 1 construction.
All right, anybody have any questions for David? All right, thank you.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a building for, a 900 square foot building that we were supposed to build according to FAA. Whatever happened to that?
So that'll be determined in the month of May, is what I was told, Commissioner Putman.
Okay, the next thing is, are you gonna put a holding tank for sewer, or are you gonna hook it up to the city sewer of T?
I think we'd have to hook it up to the city sewer with T.
Okay, now, do you know where the city sewer is in T, right next to the land, the 20 acres?
It's on the south side, I believe, Commissioner Putman, is where that's
Yeah.
located.
Henceforth, before a guy can do anything, he's gotta get that sewer up there, and it will go underneath that 20 acres. So there'll have to be some kind of plan for that before we ever start with that 20 acres.
I think Helms Engineering will look into that probably more deeply than I would, so I think they probably have a plan already, and we can move forward with that, with their recommendation.
Commissioner Putnam,
Well, then we can't do
the question
anything
is
today
whether we are
without
going to
knowing that.
approve advertising for bids. That's what's on the agenda right now. So let's keep it germane to the advertising of bids, please.
Well, okay, then.
Any other
We don't
questions
need a
related? Sorry, what was that?
I said, I guess we don't need a sewer.
Other questions related to the advertising for bids for phase 1?
Yeah,
Alright.
David,
Yep, go ahead.
David, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's talk about, for the benefit of the public, what is phase 1? What are we advertising for bids here?
Phase 1 is the infrastructure, which would be the taxiway lanes. So when we build the hangars right through here, that they would have access to right here would be a taxiway, then they could taxi down here, then off to the runway. So we need them taxiways for the movement of the aircraft from where they're located to the runway. That's what we need.
Yeah, basically, if I understand correctly, we're putting in the streets that the airplanes drive on, right?
Correct.
And then eventually, to extend the analogy, the hangar, which is the house in this analogy, will come later on, correct?
That's correct, sir. Yes.
So when you develop a piece of land, in this case, an airport, you put the streets, which we call taxiways, those get put in first.
Correct.
And that's what we're advertising for a bid here.
That's correct.
Okay. And then Helms and Associates says that this thing is gonna run us, estimated total project cost is $900,000, right? So,
Correct.
what are we looking at in terms, what are we looking at in terms of the grant that would pay for this work?
So the grant would be close to $897,000, and the county would come up with 2.5% of the total cost of the project. So that's an estimate what they have, so it could be, they always estimate a little bit high, so it could be less than that. So I think our cost to the county would be around $20K.
I think on the bottom of the last sheet, it was 22.5.
Yeah, and we're gonna put the bids out, and
Correct.
hopefully the bids come in low,
That's
lower
correct.
than that.
Yes.
So we'll find out. But what you're telling us is that Helms and Associates is telling you that 95% is gonna be paid for by the federal government?
95 by the federal, 2.5 by the state, and the other 2.5 is coming from us, from the
Okay.
county.
So really, like 97.5.
97.5.
And then the next question I have is, with regard to the front-end carrying cost. We have to pay, I mean the county, general fund, will have to front these carrying costs on the front end until we get the FAA grant on the back end, correct?
Correct statement.
Okay. And how long does it usually take the FAA to pay on these?
Once the construction is done, it happens pretty fast.
Okay. When does Helms, when would this, we go to bid, let's say we go to bid today. We get the bids back, a month from now? Will this project start with this construction season?
We're hoping so. They're 90% confident that it will.
So that is the goal, is this season?
Definitely, that's our goal.
Okay. And then this project is just a one construction season project? It'll be done before the snow falls next year?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public input on the agenda item? If not, can I get a motion?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second, Otten.
Got a motion and a second. Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Putnam?
No,
Schmidt?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries. Next, we have our Veteran Service Officer Department Head presentation. David, good morning.
Good morning. David Eckley, Lincoln County Veteran Service Officer. So just kind of a brief summary, get to know who we are, what we do. There's one Veteran Service Officer in the county, and that's me, so I'm the entire department. And I'm dedicated to, get this up to speed here, assisting and advising veterans and their families as they navigate the complex network of federal and state benefits that they may be entitled to. So just to break it down a little bit, all phases of the claim process, that includes the initial interview, talking with the veteran, their families, getting to know them, determine what benefits they might be eligible for. So if we do that, then I look at their service records to determine any indicators that I might be looking for benefits, look at medical records, file the claim, then I keep an eye on the status, so if the VA or the state needs any more information, then we work together to accomplish that. And then I also look at the decisions, so VA follows a bunch of policies, so you have to always be aware of those and be up to date on that, and look at that for accuracy. I follow up with the veterans, let them know what the decisions are and what additional benefits come with that. And if there's a denial, we determine if there can be proceedings to appeal that. Then I always strive to provide high-quality, effective service and advocacy for veterans and their families. So last year I participated in a bunch of events, so that's my outreach. I go out and I talk to veterans, veterans groups, organizations, and a lot of it's listed there. I do several other things as well, but it gives me an opportunity to be in front of people, talk to them, let them know what we do here for veteran services. So each county has a veteran service officer, and we're all accredited veteran service officers. And also it's important to kind of note, there's no charge for our services, so we assist, because that's what we do. And I filed and helped with over 250 claims this past year. And then as far as the impact for dollar amount, we usually have about $30 million compensation and pension benefits that come into the county for Lincoln County veterans each year, so that makes a big impact as well. And for 26, I'll just be continuing to do some outreach efforts. I work with different organizations. There's a Veterans Picnic in Canton. I'm going to do a organization event with the SDDVA, so we'll be at the Canton Depot in May, so I'll get further details out. And that's called Coffee and Camaraderie, where we're going to be on site with SDDVA and probably some VA people, answer questions, provide details about benefits, and just have discussion and camaraderie. So then I'll go see veterans where they are. I visit the local treatment centers, nursing homes, all the facilities in the counties that have veterans, and just continue to remind them that they're not forgotten. So we're here to help. And in 27, just going to continue to expand that outreach. There's always opportunities, so I welcome all groups that, want me to speak or provide services, reach out to me, so I'm here for that. And also being responsible with the budget, I do continue to try to increase the claims that I file and people I work with, so eventually we'll be looking to add another staff member, a veteran service officer to assist, because right now, based on the latest numbers out, we have the third highest number of veterans in the state and our county, so there's a lot of veterans to still reach, and I do get out and engage with as many as I can. So I kind of kept it a little more brief for you here. So if you do have any questions, go ahead, please.
Well, I know that the legislature passed at least 2 bills that affect you, so I'm assuming that you'll be doing outreach to those vets as well.
Yes, I always keep an eye on that, see what's being done out in Pierre, and then the state offices always follow up with us as well and let us know what bills have been approved and what is coming our way, so.
And thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you for your
Thank
support.
you, David.
Thank you.
Yep. Any
David,
public, go ahead.
I got a question for David.
Yes,
So, could you explain how you've incorporated into your routine or your battle rhythm, how you communicate to these veterans that are eligible for the various property tax relief?
Sure. So what I did recently when we kind of undertook that project, I have several reports I look at. It takes a bunch of different resources to identify, who may be getting the exemption, who's already getting it, who's eligible. So then I send emails, make phone calls, do whatever I can to try to reach them. Primarily, it was a combination of phone calls and emails last time. So if I don't have an email response, I usually try my contact phone number for them.
And then when the new veteran comes in, like, they're like, Dave, help me file a comp and pen claim. You give them a packet of information. Do you include that, if they happen to meet those requirements, do you include in there like that property tax relief flyer?
Yes, so we have it's on the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs website as well. There's a resource called Additional Benefits. So anything from 0 to 100%, this list indicates what you're eligible for as you increase up in compensation rating.
Yeah, you know how these guys are, though. They're not necessarily scrolling through all these, deep into these websites and everything.
No, that's just an additional resource. I do talk to them about it. So every time a veteran receives a new rating, I review it to see if they've crossed into the threshold where they have more benefits, and then I pass that along to them. So we educate. You're welcome.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Any public input on the presentation? All right, if not, we are gonna move on. We had moved consent agenda item 3 to our regular business, so we'll take that up now. Harold, do you wanna come up? Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Harold Timmerman, Lincoln County Emergency Management Coordinator. We received an application for fireworks from Adam Curtis, and he wanted to do this at the Prosper Warehouse Gathering Point in Lenox. His example was if there's a wedding going on and they want to have a fireworks demonstration, he could do that. Well, I called him right away when the application came in and asked him a few questions, and he didn't have good answers. I said, what if the parking lot's full of cars and you don't have a space to do this? He says, well, I'll just go to the road ditch. I said, no, you won't. It's too close to public right of way, and you can't do that. So I suggested maybe he talk to the Presbyterian Church folks and see if maybe he could use part of their parking lot. And when I talked to him again yesterday, he didn't have that accomplished yet. So I don't believe we should allow this permit to be approved until we get some better answers from Mr. Curtis. And he agreed to keep pursuing that, so is my recommendation that we don't approve this application at this time and let him reapply later.
Thank you, Harold. Is Mr. Curtis here in the audience with us?
I didn't see him, no.
Okay.
Harold, just, is it better to table it, or is it better to deny it? Like, for example, if you told him, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and he's in the middle of doing that, should we just table it and put it on pause instead of just outright denying it?
That's, a good option. That'd be up to the commission's decision to do that.
Harold, what's the fee for the application?
There is none.
There is no
That I'm
fee.
aware of.
Okay. I just wanted to save him that if we were gonna
Yeah.
end up denying that if he had.
So he's aware of my concerns, and he agreed with me that he needs to do a little more work, so
Okay,
it's up to the commission's decision as to how you want to handle this.
all right, thank you. Is there any public input on the agenda item? All right, if not, can we get a motion?
You want to make this as an affirmative motion, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I move to approve.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion to approve. If there's no further discussion, Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Putnam?
Yes.
Schmidt?
No.
Otten?
No.
Aaron's? No. Landine?
No. All right, application is denied.
And I will contact Mr. Curtis and let him know that immediately when we get done here, so.
Thank you, Harold. And then you have your presentation for us this morning?
Yes,
Go ahead when you're ready.
I think they're working on getting it up here, so there we go. My presentation doesn't differ a lot from last year, but I'll go over my department functions, what happened in '25, a little bit of what we're involved with in '26, and looking forward to 2027. I coordinate and support Lincoln County first responders, including fire, EMS, law enforcement, and the 911 center. Trying to work with them whenever needed and do whatever they need from my office to help them in whatever they're involved with. I try and develop good working relationships with city, township, and county officials, because when something happens, we need to know who each other is before we can effectively work together. I try and go to each city council meeting once a year. I work with the townships on a regular basis, and the county officials also whenever needed. Try to maintain an up-to-date list of contact personnel in cities, townships, and county, major businesses and utilities and schools. This forms my local emergency operations group. So we have contacts if we need to contact them for any reason regarding their particular school, utility, business, or township, that we have that available. And I share these contacts with the 911 center, so if we have an incident develop in the middle of the night and we need to get a hold of township personnel, they've got a contact list to start calling. I'll do it but most of the time, but that list is also available there. And then I complete all the requirements for our local emergency management grant program, LEMPG, which pays half of my salary and administrative expenses. Each quarter, I believe the state is now sending out a list of things that need to be done each year and what we've accomplished so far. It takes the entire year to complete this whole list, because some of it's involved, like turning in our quarterly reports on time and things of that nature. When we look at what happened in '25, we did pretty good until the storm went through the southern part of the county. Damage beginning at Highway 140 and 105, or Highway 17, progressing southeast all the way to Hudson. Just a couple examples of the damage in Hudson. This was the tire shop that's located in Hudson, and a lot of damage, as you can see, and also there was damage in the rural areas. So this is just an example of some of that damage. We worked for several days to get a lot of this mitigated and straightened out, and some of the work is still going on. You don't recover from something like this in a couple days. This is just our incident command trailer that I pulled down there. We use this as our central point of getting everything accomplished and lining up work for each day. We did use the fire station the first half a day because we wanted to get everybody in one place where we had plenty of room, and we accomplished that. Between myself, the fire chief, the mayor, and our county highway staff, we were able to coordinate the entire operation down there. Steve, our sheriff, was down there also quite a bit and helped a great deal in all of this. In 2026, we just hope for normal operations, no disasters preferably. We don't need any more of those, and we're still continuing to work a little bit with some of the disaster that happened in '24 with the flooding. There are some projects that need to be completed, and the money for them has been approved. It's just a matter of getting contractors in place to get them done. One of these is on Highway 11 and 274th. If you go about a half a mile east, you'll see that road's been closed all this time. There's probably going to need to be a triple box culvert put in there to replace what washed out, and which then it'll probably become a county project, county bridge or culvert, because it's going to be larger than 20 feet. So looking forward to 27, continue to work with all the agencies within the county and continue to receive training provided by the state mostly. And we have certain things that we're required to do each year on a training level. Even though you've been in a position for a long time, you can always learn something if you want to. And then I'll continue to support our state office as a member of the State Incident Management Team, or IMAT as it's called. This is a group of people that were put together beginning in 2007 to where we've gone to different parts of the state to help them when something serious happens. The first time was a flooding in Aberdeen in 2007. And we worked in 2011 in Pierre, Fort Pierre, and Dakota Dunes through that flooding. Tornado that went through Delmont is some of the things that we've worked on. And then strive to keep the budget as low as possible. I don't believe I've ever used my entire budget. I am recommending in the 27 budget that we increase my maintenance and line item because that covers the cost of making sure our generators on this building and our fire stations are in proper working order. The ones on the building here, we have them look at it twice a year. Once they just look at it to make sure it's working okay. The next time they completely service them, changing oil, filters, and all that sort of thing. With our fire stations, we put that all in place in 2005 as we did the big generator that's on the building now. And at that time, the commission agreed with me that we should support making sure they're checked over once a year, which my budget covers that. Theoretically, I suppose the ones on the building here and the highway department could be on their respective budgets, but it's county money, however you look at it. So we try and maintain an organized check on those so we know they're working properly. And in the case of Hudson, that was the only place in town that had power after the storm went through. So the generator didn't get hurt, nor did the building, so we were able to have that. One person stayed there the first night because their home was compromised. They needed air conditioning and so forth because of some breathing problems, and they spent the night in the fire station. So with that, it would be the only recommendation or change to my budget. If you have questions, I'll try and answer them now, or if you have more at another time, I'll meet with you whenever.
Thank you, Harold. Anybody have questions for Harold?
I do. How will the new Justice Center affect your office?
My office will stay where it is now,
Okay,
so it won't affect me.
okay. Will you move when everything from this office goes out there? Will you get a different office?
I don't see that I will. I don't need one really, so
Okay.
if something changes afterwards, we'll do whatever we have to do.
Didn't your office at one time flood?
It did, and now they've got that mitigated.
Okay, thank you.
Through some projects that John did last year, they found some issues that could have possibly caused the flooding. But when the flood comes through and this whole park up here fills up, you know, you're gonna have issues.
Okay.
Until something is done by the city and so forth to change some of that water flow. When you get water coming 3 feet deep down Cedar Street, that washes out asphalt, it's a lot of water. Then it comes across the parking lot behind Sturdivant's and comes right into our building here. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, Harold. Other questions for Harold? All right. Any public input on Harold's presentation? Okay. If
Now
not,
get out of the way.
Thanks,
all
Harold.
right.
You bet.
Thanks, Harold. Next, we have our state's attorney's office presentation. Morning, Tom.
Thank you. Tom Waldman, Lincoln County State's Attorney, to give you our annual update for 2026. Our overview of our office, we are responsible for criminal prosecution of all felony misdemeanor matters within the county. If we could go to, let's see, petty offenses and juvenile delinquency matters. Civil, we provide legal advice and review to department heads and elected officials. And in addition, we handle abuse and neglect cases and represent petitioners on mental health holds. And then work on habeas proceedings and expungements as well. Currently, we have 24 active employees, and we're down one staff member at this point, down one attorney at this point. We've got 16 support staff, includes LOAs, paralegal, victim witness assistants, 3 investigators, and a juvenile diversion coordinator. We've got 9 attorneys on staff, and 7 of those handle strictly, or pretty much all of our criminal load. And then we have 2 civil attorneys as well. Currently, we've got that one open attorney position. caseloads for the past years, as you can see, we continue to increase. We're up 9.5% in felony and misdemeanor filings from last year. And last year, we handled 671 felonies. You know, one of the things that had me scratching my head a little bit when we start counting beans is the crime report that was just released in Minnehaha County for the area and that the state, and that the crime numbers are down statewide. Well, why are our numbers going up? Well, our numbers are trending up in part just along with the growth that we continue to have in the county and with the very proactive approach that Sheriff Swenson has. I think that as he's added staff, we've continued to see those numbers grow, and we'll continue to see those numbers grow as a result of our population increase, and as well as again, Sheriff Swenson's efforts with his deputies. I think the other numbers, our juvenile numbers are down, and that's certainly in large part because of our juvenile diversion coordinator. Our juvenile diversion coordinator works with at-risk youth who have been referred to our office on criminal charges, and essentially we divert those criminal charges out of the system via our juvenile diversion coordinator. She works with those youth to find appropriate programming, again, to focus on a rehabilitative effort and redirection to hopefully continue to keep those kids out of the system. We're also, rewarded financially by the state for those efforts. We receive monies as a result of those cases when they're diverted out of the system. Our A&N numbers, again, seem to be tracking with years past as well. Felony files are up, civil filings are up, as are our POA citations slightly. Mental health referrals and work with those cases continues to remain steady. And as you can see, our total Lincoln County filings are, again, significantly up. And I think that's certainly in part based upon our population increase. Those include all civil, criminal, and, family law styled cases. Of course, we have the third largest court calendar or court caseload in the state based upon those totals. Any questions about those as I move through? Yes. I could. Oops.
Yeah.
Yes.
Under caseloads, and you did address it, and that's the same question I had. Attorney General came out here, did an interview yesterday, taking credit for, or assigning credit to the close of the southern border as what he thought was a major reason for reduction in statewide criminal behavior. But on ours, we've seen, almost 2,000 cases up from last year. And my first question is, just in terms of the statistics, is that individual criminal charges, or is that individuals?
Individuals. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not breaking out each
Yeah.
indictment, 20
Right.
counts of child pornography, for example. It would be by individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are discrete individuals. It's not as if the same guy committed 5 crimes and then we count him 5 times, right?
I could probably bring you an example of that, but no, generally not. Yes,
Right.
generally not.
Well,
But it's also,
yeah.
I'd also like to point out that that's felony and class 1 misdemeanors, so,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And class 2 misdemeanors are obviously categorized in Meg Court, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And those would be the UJS numbers.
All right. Based on your assessment, though, of, seeing almost 2,000 more individuals coming into contact with law enforcement in your office, what is driving that? I mean, I understand the population, but can you give us some more granularity there? I mean, burglaries, homicide, aggravated assault. I mean, what's driving that?
I mean-
beyond just the population.
Is it 2,000 or 200?
It'd be
I'm sorry,
200,
200, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, every year, I think my answer is pretty much the same. I mean, controlled substances drive predominantly the numbers, you know, and that manifests itself in felony charges as well as misdemeanor charges as well. So between controlled substances and alcohol, those are our biggest customers, I would say. I mean, certainly there's a component of mental health that rides along with that, with sort of a dual diagnosis between, you know, controlled substance addiction and mental health issues, or alcohol issues and mental health issues. But I would say predominantly that's what's driving it. And then again, as Sheriff Swenson sort of, you know, continues his efforts in adding to his roster, that drives our numbers as well.
Yeah, he's digging around rooting for crime. I
Yes,
get it.
yep.
Which is good.
Yeah.
My other question is SB 70 presumptive probation. What are we seeing, which I think is an unfunded mandate from the state to the counties? What are we seeing in terms of frequent flyers within the system that otherwise normally probably would have gone to the pen, to the prison, but instead are circulating in our system?
Yeah, I think it remains an issue. You know, I think that what was promised by Senate Bill 70 with, you know, sort of swift consequences for bad behavior while on supervision doesn't really manifest that way. While they have 48-hour detentions and things of that nature for intermediate sanctions, those get used with I think, great frequency. However, when there's 10 of those and there hasn't been a probation violation filed, I think that that's somewhat problematic. And my request for the courts would be to revamp or take a fresh look at how they're managing some of those probationers. Pretrial release, oftentimes it's kind of catch and release. We see individuals who have significant controlled substance addictions getting released back into the community and violating and picking up new criminal charges before before the first charges are even resolved. So, you know, the same thing rings true for supervision on post-sentencing, where they'll receive a 30-day electronic monitoring sentence for possession of a controlled substance, for example. They can't make it through electronic monitoring because they test positive for controlled substances within 30 days of sentencing. So it's problematic. Also promised with Senate Bill 70 were community, sort of community intervention where there would be more community offerings for, treatment and rehabilitative efforts. And we just don't see that like we should, I believe. Really, they've focused heavily on treatment courts, and while those have their place, it's not the magic bullet. It just isn't the magic bullet for what we have with the volume that we have. When you talk to State's Attorney Hager, when he does his case breakdown of, the number of controlled substance cases that he has versus the number of individuals that he has in those problem-solving courts, it's a percentage. So if you've got 900 felony or 1,000 felony drug charges, there's a very small percentage of those that are being supervised by a drug court. And while drug courts are great and have their place, you can see that we've got 900 plus people who aren't getting that special attention. And, I think that maybe absolutely should be getting that special attention, because it is our responsibility to manage those probationers and to make sure that they are on the right path. So, but that's sort of above my pay grade. We're here just sweeping up things and trying to do the best with what we have. Yes.
And Tom, thank you for answering Commissioner Aaron's question, because that was what I was going to ask, because he asked the same thing last year, where these criminal charges were multiple criminal filings charged on one person making this sheet.
No, those numbers would be a lot higher.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, yep.
Thank you, Tom. Commissioners have any other questions?
Oh, I'm moving along here.
Oh,
Sorry.
I thought you were done.
So, yeah, moving on to our youth diversion, I already touched on this a little bit. We diverted 84 youth, 58 successful diversions. Major crimes that we had resolved, Hayden Hall pled guilty to 3 counts of manslaughter, Amir Badwan, 1 count of manslaughter, Justin Rackley. We tried that case last summer. Amanda Eden and I tried that and received multiple convictions, primarily 3 counts of first-degree murder for those shooting deaths, which was, you know, any murder case is a big case within the office, but when you have 3 victims and those 3 victims' family members and extended family members, it's a significant load on the office to manage those cases when you've got 30 to 40 family victim members who need those updates and need to be involved in the process. And that's why we have those victim witness assistants who do a tremendous job in the office of helping those victims navigate the system. So Victor Rios pled guilty to attempted murder. That was a drug rip that happened in Minnehaha County, and the pursuit between the individuals ended up in our county, just south of 57th Street, and Mr. Rios stepped out of his vehicle and shot the other driver in the forehead, who survived. We prosecuted that. And then Jimmy Ledbetter pled guilty to a manslaughter charge on January 6th of this year, but really the bulk of that prosecution and the work on that case happened back in 2025. We attend annually our States Attorneys Association conference that's provided to us by our association as well in conjunction with law enforcement training with the Attorney General's office, covering vehicular manslaughter, DWI prosecutions involving marijuana, abuse and neglect matters, and then crime scene mapping. Revenues, we've got our state grants, and that's our juvenile diversion coordinator. Fees would be civil penalties to include stop sign violations, or school bus stop sign violations, fleeing law enforcement. We attach a civil penalty to those individuals who elude law enforcement. And then court costs, those are assessed on defendants, and then bond for bond forfeitures as well is added in there. Expectation of 2026, again, we anticipate that growth in our caseload between 3 to 5%, increase in appeals. Crime and severity means an increase in appeals. Those big cases that we just listed are all going to have direct appeals and potentially habeas matters, and our office will work not as direct on the direct appeals, but we certainly manage those habeas matters and those appeals. Administrative appeals to the Office of Hearing Examiners or Circuit Court on our property tax appeals. That's the Drew and Joe show of our office, and they keep busy with those. And then we've got our expected move to the new Justice Center, hopefully coming up here in October, maybe even earlier. So looking forward to 27, increase in case filings. The ask for next year will be a new criminal attorney, paralegal position, and then our juvenile diversion coordinator. This was a 3-year grant that expires mid-year this year. So we're going to be asking for that to be funded for next year's budget into 2027.
Tom?
Yes.
Were a couple questions prompted by that, but one that I forgot to ask. Were DUIs up this year?
I'm trying to recall offhand. I think that they were up. It was steady to up, so probably contained in that 6% area.
Okay.
Or number. Yep.
All right. And when it comes to DUIs, my big thing is I don't think we have enough of in terms of the state law. You know, I've asked state legislators to tack on some additional fees. I'm just interested in your take. What do we need to do in order to deter drunk and impaired driving?
Well,
From your position, I mean, I know that's the silver bullet question, and I know you don't have that answer, but I do want to get your
other
thoughts.
states, yeah, and other
Yeah.
states do. I mean, other states are doing it better than we are.
Okay.
And consistently, when we've marched up the hill, we're met with effective lobbying by the criminal defense bar, and it's difficult to advance things such as mandatory punishment or fees, costs and fees to be added on. And I think that, when we're leading the nation, so to speak, in DUI arrests and DUI fatalities, that's not a good look for us. And I think that it's hard, we need to take a hard, fast look at this, because other states are doing things that don't necessarily include jail time, because we know that works for a limited amount of, you do 7 days, for example, and beyond that, for a DWI first, it's kind of lost it becomes a little too punitive. However, mandatory community service, mandatory follow-through with education, things of that nature can find its mark. When somebody decides to drive home from, being out on the town all night, playing cards with their friends or what have you, maybe they think they're sober enough to drive, and they get a DWI and they're a .12, and maybe they work their way through magistrate court here and they don't think that that's that big of a deal. When all of a sudden they have to do 60 hours of community service, that becomes a big deal, and that can find its mark. And I think that we need to reevaluate how we're handling some of these misdemeanor level offenses, because consistently what we find in circuit court on these repeat DWI offenses is that we get DWI thirds, fourths, fifths, and even some sixths, where it hasn't been a big imposition on their lives. It's been maybe a couple of days of jail while they were waiting to post bond, but electronic monitoring, and that's about it. And now they're looking at a mandatory penitentiary sentence for a DWI fourth, fifth, or sixth. And that's problematic. I mean, we needed to do something early on, and to open their eyes and to get their attention on that DWI first, or maybe that DWI second. But if you're out at the bar having drinks and you think, well, I could slip home, and then maybe in the back of your head you remember the 60 hours of community service that you had to do last time, and what it takes to find 60 hours in your calendar, that's a pretty big deal for a lot of people. So, there are alternatives that other states have approached, and it's something that we need to do both with DWI offenses and with domestic assault charges as well. So, but I could talk all day about this, so we probably need to keep moving, but we need to tweak it.
No, I appreciate your comments, and I think it's an important public discussion to be had, because if people like me don't ask people like you at meetings like this, it rarely comes up in the media, and we're unable to get a conversation going with the public and with lawmakers about this. And so it's important that we keep it in the mind of the public and in the mind of legislators, because otherwise we just go dark, and then it kind of gets swept under the rug. Because it not only impacts victims, it impacts the perpetrator, impacts the taxpayer, and it just seems like there's things we could be doing and we're missing out. We're missing the boat when it comes to these opportunities to engage in some pretty common sense crime deterrence.
And consistently, when I have this discussion with people in the community, they're kind of shocked at my example of the repeat DWI offenders, for example. Really, they didn't do, they didn't do any jail time, or they really didn't have a fine, or they really didn't have anything that really got their attention. They're shocked by that. And I think that we need better public education about what's going on with some of these matters, because when I talk about marching up the hill with the State's Attorneys Association and our lobbyists to make changes to our laws, I think that we're met with, an effective criminal defense bar, but I think we're also met with some legislators who are maybe dismissive, like, oh, well, you're just all lock them up and throw away the key, when we're not. We just need to have sentences that, look at all three legs of the stool, because if you only have two of the legs of the stool, it doesn't stand. So, but again, we could talk all day about that, but I think that there needs to be a component of public education as to what's really going on and why we have such a high DWI rate, why we have such a problem with repeat offenders and, domestic abusers and things of that nature. So other states have done a better job, and I think we could tweak what we're doing here to make our community safer.
Tom, I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
You're one of the few state's attorneys that carry a workload as well as your staff. How many cases are you personally carrying, plus being the administrator for state's attorney for our county?
A bunch, over 100 felony files, so.
Over 100?
I believe so, so that might be a low estimate, but
I thank you for that.
thank you, Commissioner.
That's rare for everybody should know that most state's attorneys just administrate their office. They do not carry a load, but ours is an exception. So, Tom?
Well,
Wow.
thank you, and it's been an interesting ride, Commissioner Schmidt. You've been here a few years longer than I have, but, in 25 years of working in this county, we've gone, I think you went from 14,000 to 80,000. When I started, we were about 24,000, and now we're 80,000. And with that has brought some very unique challenges. And I have a passion for the position and enjoy prosecution. And now all of a sudden we wake up one day and we've got 24 people on staff. So that's an extra load, but we enjoy doing it. So I got a great team and great staff on board to help me manage all of it. So let's see, I don't know if I touched on this, but we may need an additional vehicle request for investigators. We get the sheriff's hand-me-downs for those, which has been a very effective way to staff our get equipment to our investigators. And they're out tracking down witnesses, they're out tracking down or fielding ground balls, picking up video evidence, literally transporting witnesses to Canton, which can be a difficult time to get some of our DV, domestic violence victims here, et cetera. They provide that opportunity to get them here for grand jury or for other hearings, and to continue to investigate those crimes. So that might be an ask for 27. We're occupying the old, the old auditor's office and the old commission room with all of our old paper files that we're required to maintain through a certain time period. And one of the things that we've looked at was to digitize those old files. Moving forward, all of our files have been digitized for years now, but we still maintain a slight paper footprint of those files. But one of the things that we were considering was using funds for the digital scanning of all those boxes of old files. All right, thank you for your time. Any questions?
Any other questions from the commission? All right.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any public input on Mr. Woolman's presentation? If not, then we'll move on to our sheriff.
I'm not the sheriff, I'm just helping his presentation. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Is this what you were looking for? Yep. Perfect.
Morning, Steve.
Good morning. Good morning, Commission. Steve Swenson, Lincoln County Sheriff. If you want to kick me out on the 25 presentation, I'm good to go. Because there's a lot here because I'm going to be covering 4 budgets. We'll start off with the 2025 annual report. It's the mission of the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office to serve the citizens of Lincoln County with integrity, honor, compassion, and fairness. Our high standard, community involvement, transparency, proactiveness, and commitment to public safety allows us to provide exceptional law enforcement service to the citizens of Lincoln County. Okay, this is just our flow chart for our office. We have a little change in there where and we're trying to kind of readjust the flow chart is, we'd had a captain in the jail division, found that there probably wasn't enough administrative work for that position, so we're trying to figure out where we're gonna fill it, and we're talking about moving 2 divisions per 1 employee that would supervise them all, so that's the change that we're working on currently. We have 26 deputies in patrol, 10 staff members that work in the jail and courthouse security, 6 individuals assigned to civil, 5 in investigations, 12 in 911 communications, for a total of 59 employees. One of the notes that there was some research done for counties comparing staff to population, and it says 58 here, but we have 59. We have 1 person working in law enforcement for the county only, that police 1,297 people. Now, our numbers include our dispatchers, our jailers, and our deputies. That is 50, that's the leanest, we're the 54th leanest county in South Dakota. People that have less than us is Roberts County, Turner County, Dewey County, Day County, Todd County, Hutchinson County, Clark County, Edmonds County, Ziebach, Lyman, Oglala, and Hawken, and I'm pretty sure that our population exceeds all of them combined. So I think we run a pretty lean operation. Okay, this is just the budgets for each department that I'm responsible for. The 24/7, we're running about $25,000 in the red currently. I'm on the 24/7 board for the state. I think that's going to be fixed. They're readjusting how some of the state funds are distributed. They used to do a kind of a scholarship for counties for staffing, and the larger counties are taking the brunt of the expense because we have the larger numbers. So they want to try to make it so it's running flat, that it's not running in the red. So I'm hoping next year that we can get that, so we're not using any general funds. Jail budget for 2025 was $3.4 million, and our revenues were $102,000. So I don't even know how to explain this, because our contacts are up, our calls for services are up, our arrests are up, but our jail numbers have been cut in half. We had 51 inmates in custody on December 1st. When I took office in 2019, we had 76 inmates in custody. December 1st, we had 51. Earlier in 25, we had in the high 70s. Today and consistently for probably the last 30 days, we're running around 30. So, obviously there's an explanation for it, but it's not a lack of us out rooting up crime. So,
Hey, Steve, on the 24/7 budget, what comes to my mind is, why doesn't it pay for itself? Can you explain, like, somebody gets told by a judge, you're gonna be on 24/7, they gotta pay for it. Can you explain to the folks why it doesn't necessarily pay for itself? Because you'd think all these users are just compelled, like, if you're gonna be on 24/7, you gotta pay for it. Like, what's happening there?
That is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be cost neutral, which of course with everything, but we have clients that don't pay their fee. There's really no repercussions for that.
Are the judges kicking them off then, or not?
Some they'll kick off, or they won't offer to them, or the system right now is kind of weak, and I think it's going to get fixed. The state's going to start giving the counties a bigger cut, because the state gets a pretty good chunk of the money, and they're running a surplus, and so they're going to That's come up, and there's counties like Pennington that are losing over $100,000. And their commission's like, yeah, we're out if we can't get this figured out. So I think we're gonna get it figured out. But they pay the fee. We don't do the PBT much because it's, when I started down here, we had 3 or 4 people coming in on Saturday. We'd have to pull a deputy from Harrisburg to sit here for 3 hours for $6. Didn't make sense. So we just let them blow up in Sioux Falls or whatever county they might live in. But we do offer the bracelet or the portable breath where it takes their pictures, they blow in it, and that's seemed to be pretty successful for us. But we don't have the high number of PBTs like Minnehaha County has. They're not running in the green either anymore, so they just need to tweak the fees. I don't think they're gonna raise the fees, it's not very popular, but they're just gonna tweak the state's cut.
Thank you.
Welcome. The annual budget for 911 was 1.275. Our revenues are 938,000, so I've got that turned around pretty well. There's still some work to do with the contracts to make it more fair for all the users, and the user it's the least fair to is Lincoln County. But we have, we're paying 26% of the budget versus 60%. Sheriff's Office, 4.9 million with revenues of 1.4. That consists of grants, the Harrisburg contract, and sheriff's fees. These are just some quick notes. Some of the stuff we do. We do fingerprints in the office. We did 639 sets of fingerprints in 2025. The pistol permits that we issued out, there's 582 of them, and we offer all the available pistol permits for South Dakota. Our calls for service. So, this isn't the best graph. That 19,770 was in 2023. We were down last year, or in 24, up again in 21. That's just staffing. We added 3 deputies at the end of last year. So I think that is a big part of it. More people out there making more contacts. Traffic enforcement is our number one call for service, as in far as numbers. Paper service would be number 2. And we're starting to run into a crunch in our paper services, because if you can see that we're up from 5260 in 2024 to 6726, and we have 2 deputies out there serving that many papers. That's probably it's going to be one of our asks for next year. And traffic stops, just so people understand that that's the call for service that takes the least amount of time. If that makes any sense. If you stop a car, it takes about 5 to 6 minutes to write a citation or a warning. So it's the calls, the domestics and that kind of stuff. There's not as many of them, but they take a lot more time.
What is CFS?
Oh, CFS, call for service.
Thank you.
So everything we do, every time a deputy does pretty much anything, they create a call for service and what he's doing, where he's at, and this is the patrol division. We were fully staffed. We had a recruit that didn't make it through the training process. Good kid, just wasn't for him. So we do have one opening in patrol, but I feel pretty fortunate that we have a full staff and the staff that we have. There's just kind of the calls for service broke down. Commissioner Aaron's asked about DUIs. We had 238 last year, 224 this year. I'm sorry, 238 and 24, 224 in 25, 256 in 2023. So they're pretty steady. Drug arrests are up. Misdemeanor and felonies are down. So the one that sticks out on this slide the most to me is burglaries. In 22, 23, 21, the storage units, as some of you that were here remember, we were dealing with those on a regular basis. Our team kind of worked up a program. We have an old pickup that we use for undercover work, basically. But they've really come up with a great scheme, and people have figured out. Matter of fact, we chased somebody out of a storage unit, and it appeared that they were going to loot us. They stopped a mile later. And they said, "Why didn't you stop right away?" And they said, "Because I didn't want to be arrested in Lincoln County." So that's a kudos to Tom. So he was still in Lincoln County, but he thought he'd gotten out of the gauntlet.
I thought you were going to say because he didn't want that enhanced civil fee.
Yeah, that too. Traffic crashes. We had 10 fatals, crashes in Lincoln County this year. Fortunately, the South Dakota Highway Patrol investigated all those. They're the experts in that. But one thing that sticks out to me is that we write, other than the city of Sioux Falls, the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office writes the majority of crashes in Lincoln County, and you'll see in most other counties, including Minnehaha County, the Highway Patrol usually writes the most accidents. However, they did add another squad, and I think that's going to get better for us. Same stuff. Okay, this is the civil team. So we have 2 part-timers, and then 2 full-time. Joan is our administrative assistant, and then Sergeant Carlson and Captain Esplin oversee that division. So this took a lot of work. Learning the civil thing was a challenge coming from the Highway Patrol, but I knew there was something wrong with our numbers. We continue to work on it. In 2023, actually in 2022, Sergeant Carlson took over the civil department as the supervisor. As you can see, he found a lot of things that weren't working right. There was a glitch in the programming we were using, so he has it running exceptionally well, and the revenues are up 4 times, so from 50,000 to 212,000. So he's done a good job there. He's also considered an expert in the civil area and is summoned to appear to testify with legislators, so he's doing a great job. This is our investigation team. Leah Stroshine is Crimes Against People. Derek Fisher's new to the team with the promotion of Brock Nelson to sergeant, and he is Crimes Against Property. And the guy with the beard there is kind of the guy that sticks out. We assigned him to the ICAC division with the state of South Dakota with DCI. He's become one of the best in the state, if not the best. And I'll get into some of the stuff that he's in. And then we've got Greg DeGrange has been assigned to the Fugitive Task Force, the Minnehaha County, or Sioux Falls area Fugitive Task Force. That's deputies, 1 from our crew, several from Minnehaha County. I think there's a couple PD officers. But these guys go out and serve all the high-risk warrants. They go out and track these people down, and they do phenomenal work, and they've gotten some bad people out of Lincoln County. Okay, ICAC, which has been a huge success for us. We were asked by DCI if we would join their task force. They supplied all the equipment initially, and we assigned a deputy or Detective Steinberg to that position. Since 2024, he received 16 cyber tips, 29 and 25. As of January 24th, he has performed 49 reactive investigations, 13 proactive investigations, producing 19 arrests with an average sentence of 15 years. It's a minimum 15-year sentence for federal system. Over 300 subpoenas and court actions have been requested. 54 search warrants sought and granted. He's examined 14 computers, 61 cell phone extractions, 85 other digital exams, 10,843 gigabytes of digital evidence examined, 20 agency assists with digital evidence recovery, and 2 children rescued from an ongoing sexual abuse. And he's 18 newly identified child victims. Okay, and it just, I don't know if anybody saw this on Facebook, but this is one of our last arrests, which was late February. We received a call of a case that's it started up in Lenox. Our detectives got involved. We were able to seize a phone. There was evidence found on that phone. And to sum up the work, it's without getting into too many details, this guy was dangerous. So we did, and he wasn't local. He lived in Tyler, Minnesota. But the work that these, and it was the whole detective team, but specifically Detective Steinberg, it took he worked with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office in Minnesota, Department of Homeland Security, Buffalo Ridge Drug and Violent Crimes Task Force, United States Marshal Service, and was able to take this guy into custody in 2 days. And there's a child victim involved that was not safe if he was not arrested. So the key is, the biggest reason I bring that up is, so far we've been able to use state funds to buy all of our equipment, and and you guys allowed me to budget for it last year, but we did get the Attorney General's office to foot the bill for the software that it requires to read this stuff. But he's become a go-to guy for all the other departments in our area, including the Sioux Falls Police Department, DCI. We've helped Canton Police, T-Police, Lenox Police. And we have the best of the best equipment, and he can, if we can get a phone in our hands that involves sex crimes on children, he can get that thing locked down so it can be deleted remotely. And he's got a good system going, and I hope we can continue that. Just our SRO program, this is Travis Johns. He's the Harrisburg SRO for the Harrisburg High School. Both of the SROs cover all the middle schools in Harrisburg, including the one at Baker's Crossing. That's Deputy Mercier. He's at the South Middle School in Harrisburg. As you can see, our guys are super involved with the school. It's not go to work and leave at the bell. They're very involved with the students. Jail and courthouse security. This is what we currently have. The two in the middle, Terry and Joy, are both part-time. We anticipate some issues with this setup when we have to move. We'll get into that in the future stuff here. They booked in 3,588 people. That means they went at least into the jail, were booked in. The jail sends us the booking stuff from Minnehaha County, and then we process it. So 3,588 people in 2025, up 10% from the year before. 351 transports. Again, that's up from 2024. Okay, this is just the numbers from what they're doing. 147 clients in the 24/7 program on the PBT. Total number of tests was 25,897. Drug Drug patches, 182, pretty similar to last year. Our failures were better this year, or in '25. UAs, we did 1,423 of those with 158 fails, and 61 people didn't show. Warrants issued was 2,530, and as you can see by this chart here, we fall about 1,000 warrants behind annually. So they're issuing warrants faster than we can pick people up, but we served 1,500 and issued 2,530. 350 of those were recalled. And then the sheriff's warrant fee collected was $10,913 last year. Communications, responded to 46,000, or answered 46,000 calls for service. And that would be a radio call, a 911 call, an administrative call. And what's unique about our dispatch center is we take all the phone calls from all the communities that we dispatch for. So if you have a police department, they roll their phones in our dispatch center. And most of them, it's 24 hours a day, but T, for instance, rolls theirs over after hours. Their calls were up 10%, but in '23, again, I think that's a staffing thing that we added more people, and T's added some more officers, and so it's just the communication center is fully staffed. Just some of the stuff that we've obtained with grant money. We have $779,000 worth of equipment on loan from the U.S. government, and the biggest part of that is the MRAP. The AG's grants, the $30,000 last year for radio encryption, and the $30,000 for ICAC software. I explained that's where we were able to get that money and not take it out of our budget. Homeland Security, that money's been held up for 25. We were supposed to get a pickup, but that money hasn't been released yet. Okay, this is another one of the very successful programs that we started. We had a call north of Harrisburg. I want to say it was probably in '24. But the drone at the top right there, the Sioux Falls PD came and assisted us. We had to shoot a window out, and that little drone, if it can fit through a hole, it can fly through that hole. So we fly it into the house, search the house. This person we were looking for had stolen a bunch of guns from Webster or something, so he was considered armed and dangerous. So the drone is a better tactic than sending police officers in there. So we flew that in there, weren't able to find the person, and then it actually got stuck in a blind or a curtain. But if it does get stuck or gets tipped over, it has a mechanism to tip itself back over. It's pretty amazing what these things still do. But then we flew it under the house in a crawl space, located the guy, a little bit of gas. He came out. So we purchased a couple of those and started there. I can't tell you how much they are, maybe $1,000 a piece. But we've used them on suicide calls. We use these things almost daily. Then we ended up buying the one on the lower left. That's the one that all the pictures you're seeing on Facebook. That's the drone they use. It's got amazing camera capability. So as we've grown, and then Harold wanted to give his up so that one there is much bigger. It can fly for an unlimited amount of time on a tether, but the one on the left there, bottom left, can be deployed out of a patrol car in less than 5 minutes. So we were showing this off. Senator Thune joined us at the range one day. We're showing it off to him. So it's one of the things you can't buy on Homeland Security. I think we made an impression on him. He flew it, was pretty amazed how simple it was to work and how good the camera was. This is the drone, some pictures of the storm damage. This is a picture that we were monitoring the Harrisburg school traffic the first week of school with all the crashes, trying to give DOT a bird's eye view of what was going on. So it can be used for so many different things. This is a picture, the one on the left, you see the tree in the circle there. This was a 8-month pregnant woman having a mental health crisis. It was over 100 degrees out, and she was reported missing. So several fire departments, law enforcement showed up. Sergeant Colshawn flew the creek there, couldn't find her, then changed it over to the right screen. If you can see just to the left of the tree, there's a little white spot. That was her. So we were able to get to her. We had to commandeer some ATVs to get to her because of the terrain, but she'd have been in trouble in another half hour. But he went back to the left screen just to see how he missed her, and he can see her there now, but the thermal image in daylight, that drone saved that girl's life. This is a picture from the drone again. This is the call that happened in, I think it was October 29th with, we had a man wanted for kidnapping, ag assault, and burglary, aggravated kidnapping. That's the Sioux Falls PD in the MRAP, which is the darker colored. That's the Bearcat. The white one is the MRAP that Lincoln County has on loan. That drone was actually, he just took that picture because he thought it was a cool picture, but he would fly up to the window of the house and be able to, the guy would open the door and we could just sit there and hover and see what he was doing, whether he had a gun in his hand. After several hours, this guy did give up peacefully. This is a picture after a pursuit. You can see the guy standing in front of the patrol cars there. He's giving himself up, walking to the patrol cars. They found him in that building with the drone. Again, the officers didn't have to get anywhere near him because of it. Some of the things we trained on in 25 was mobile field force with all the civil uprise that we see. Thankfully, we don't see a lot here, but we're much more prepared than we were in 2020. The picture on the bottom is it's called a wrap. It's for arrests you make where the person is kicking. You just strap it around them and it secures their legs, and then the Nerf helmet is for the ones that want to beat their head on the cage. It just protects the inmate. Captain Ward attended police staff and command. It was a 10-week college-level course, builds on leadership and staff management. Then a slew of certifications to, just gives us the opportunity where we can train our people more efficiently. Picture of our people out doing community events. The one picture on here that I'll point out is the one on the bottom left. Sergeant Colshawn took it upon himself to reach out to Franken Custom Harvesting or Custom Inc. It's during the time of all the complaints of the silage haulers. So he actually met with their entire crew, all their drivers, just into Iowa and spent a couple hours with them. Built a pretty good relationship with that crew and the owner of the business, and really laid down our expectations and gave them with the warning that this is the only warning, any hazardous moving violations that they will be cited for. And it seemed to cut down on the complaints, and they took it to heart, and so very much appreciative of him doing that. A lot of community support. All right, so what we have going on in 2026, We just continue to work on enhancing officer safety with updated training. We're trying to fit every patrol car with a ballistic shield that is handgun rated. Another goal that we're just adding them as we can with what budget allows is 40 millimeter less than lethal. It's a launcher. It launches gas, rubber bullets. We rented the EVOC course at the Sioux Falls PD Training Center. EVOC stands for Emergency Vehicle Operations Course. When I was on the highway patrol, we had to do it every time we got a new car. We'd have to go to Pier and drive the course. Most agencies, frankly, no agency other than probably the highway patrol or maybe the Sioux Falls Police Department had the resources to be able to do this. With that training center here, and their ability to lease it out to departments, and I think it's $100, it's minimal. But we'll be able to take our vehicles that they drive on a daily basis and run them through this emergency vehicle operation course. The instructors are free, the highway patrol and I think Sioux Falls PD, and then we have a game fish and parks guy that works for us part-time who is an EVOC instructor. So I'm pretty excited for the guys to get through that. It obviously makes them better drivers, and we're sending 2 people to mobile field force training. That will give us a total of 6 mobile field force trained deputies, which is 7 is technically a full team. So if we have any uprisings, we can send a team up there. Typically, I would guess it would happen in Sioux Falls to help and be ready for that. And then we're sending Sergeant Colshawn to Watertown for an enhanced drone training. Investigations, we've enhanced our digital forensic investigation capabilities. We submitted and received a grant amount of $27,500 from Attorney General's office. That was this year already. Allowed us to purchase state-of-the-art forensic software and hardware. The investigation is currently performing a full audit on our evidence room that will help us maintain integrity of our system. And I think we have 23,000 pieces of evidence. So with that, they're trying to purge the old unresolved cases, obtain destruction orders from the court per state statute to destroy the stuff. And then we talked about assigning the detective to the Sioux Falls Area Task Force. Civil, they continue to work on more efficiencies, gradually integrate technology, computer-generated checks. We're still doing everything by hand. More in-depth use of emails, emailing back and forth, paper sets to attorneys and collection companies versus mail them. They're currently scanning all the civil department paperwork into the CAD system so we can get rid of the storage. 911, they're vetting a recorder logger system, replace the end-of-life system that was purchased in 2011. This was budgeted for this year and is anticipated to be completed by mid-2026. And that's the device that records the radio traffic and the phone calls and the... This year I was able to implement a 911 contract with the City of Harrisburg, City of Centerville, and Viber. We now contract with all municipalities in Lincoln County and Turner County, and it's just all municipalities that have their own police department. If we were answering all their phone calls and their traffic stops, that is not covered by the 911 fee. 911 is if you call 911, that's what that fee is to cover. So all the extras, the phone calls and the so we've took me a long time to get there, but we're there. 911 communication contract revenue was $48,000 in 2019. We're projected to be at $281,000 in fiscal year 2026. So I think we're getting a lot closer to making the system fair. They're currently training 2 dispatchers to be basically field training officers or dispatch training officers. This will allow them to teach at the academy and Pier, and nothing but good stuff can come out of that. You learn all what's going on, what other people are doing, and they also train new dispatchers that we would hire. The jail, is always a big thing. There's a lot going on with the jail and the courthouse security. Cross-train all positions. And we've been working on this and pretty much are there. Cross-train everybody that 24/7 can do transports. They can do the front desk, the security desk. They can do courtroom security. So it helps us manage leave and things like that. One of the things that we've had the luxury of is 911 did all of our warrant entries. It's just the way it was when I came here, but it's really a jail function. So and now that we're splitting, 911 will be where we are now, and the jail will be over there. There's really no way to do it other than having it go to the jail. So the jail staff is gonna be tasked with entering, confirming, and purging warrants that are filed in the system. I touched on working with the Attorney General's office to increase funding, 24/7 program. Looking towards 2027, implemented not necessarily a position, but just an assignment for a deputy to be solely responsible for traffic enforcement this would include traffic enforcement, S patrol, and high complaint areas. But we just get a ton of complaint areas. Every time we try to get somebody down to that complaint area, we get a call at the other end of the county. So our goal would be for this person to be able to go down there, and that call comes in, a different deputy would take that call versus have to run, because it's pretty hard to focus on those areas, and we have a lot of them. So, and continue to build on our specialized training. When we talk about the EVOC course being available to us in our backyard, we're looking into sending 2 deputies to Washington State to become EVOC instructors. That'll depend on cost, but it sounds like there might be some money available from training in Pierre that would offset that. Explore additional pursuit tactics to help minimize the risk to the public and or deputies. There's a dart system that shoots a dart to the car. There's all sorts of systems to end pursuits more quickly. Our request for the sheriff's office is an FTE, deputy sheriff, and an administrative assistant. So we are gonna lose an administrative assistant that they both work in the front desk. One is a jail administrative assistant, and one is the sheriff's administrative assistant. So when we lose the one to the new courthouse, there's no way that one person can manage the front desk. And it would allow for no coverage on leave. So that is an unintended consequence for us not staying together. So that is an ask. The fleet for the patrol division would be 5 new Tahoes to replace. We would then, and 1 vehicle for investigators. In doing the research, the Durango does not hold up in patrol. We found that out. We had a couple of them. But the investigators don't drive the cars like the patrol guys drive the cars. They're not chasing down cars. They're not in pursuits. They're not out on the gravel roads serving papers. So we think we could do the Durango, which is about $15,000 cheaper than a Tahoe for the investigator. Equipping the vehicle is about $15,000 each. We would surplus 5 Tahoes. 4-H has currently asked for one. The state attorney has asked for one. And we just surplus one to the auditor's office. And I really believe the one we surplus to the auditor's office, we had it detailed and cleaned out, and you wouldn't know that it had 117,000 miles on it. But from my understanding, it runs really well, and so a good use of our resources with that. The jail implement multi-agency training program, and this is, we train with, Minnehaha County puts on a lot of inmate training, so we go up there. Obviously they have a lot more experience with it than our people do. Courthouse active shooter, disruption in the courthouse training. I want to say that we have 4 of our jail staff that are courthouse security certified, and that's a training class that's put on in Las Vegas. And they're requesting 2 FTEs, correction officers, because we're adding several more courthouses. We're adding a control room. So it's just what it's gonna take to fill all the requirements we're gonna have to be involved with. The jail, 2 Dodge Durangos to replace, we'd surplus 2 Chevy Tahoes. One currently has 120,000 miles, one has 150,000. The thing that we're looking for dispatch is AI-assisted dispatching. And this is in the very research zone right now. It's what we're thinking is this may alleviate us from having to add a dispatcher. And it's crazy what this stuff can do, but we don't know a lot about it yet, so we're just digging into it. But it would be an assisted dispatching program where the caller would call in, it would actually translate the call to the screen. And then the screen would go out to the screen goes to the deputy's car. Just some things that the supervisor in dispatch has been able to accomplish with a little guidance. Overtime in 2022 was 84,000. Without adding any people, we've reduced it. 24 was only 17,000, but we've cut it, I think it was 120,000 when I first took over dispatch, so I think we're properly staffed. And that's it. Any questions?
I do, Steve. On your outreach, I know last year, the county courthouse and employees around the Lincoln County dropped off food bank stuff, and I know that you had 2 deputies escort me to 5 food banks when we dropped those off. So that was another outreach that you had. And do you know how many of your employees did the 2-hour defensive driver training on 225? I know I was there and I saw at least 1 from your office, so I don't know. Okay, and then is one of your FTEs because one of your wonderful sheriff's deputies is leaving in mid-year?
No, we'll have to replace him as well, but with our Deputy Hogan is retiring, so we'll need to replace him, but the FTE would be an addition. It would be
Okay.
adding 1 more deputy. I honestly want 2, 1 for civil and 1 for traffic, but I'm trying to be.
That's gonna be a sad loss.
Yeah, it is gonna be a sad loss. Love that guy.
Hey, Steve, thanks for the report, very comprehensive, thank you. With regard to your request for an administrative FTE, and with moving over to a different courthouse and all that, could you just kind of explain the mechanics of why that's needed? I don't quite understand that, so whatever insight you can give.
So we were just able to piggyback off each other. It's the jail administrator and the sheriff's administrator. If one went to the bathroom and the phone rang, we had somebody there. If one took vacation, we had somebody there. But losing her to the new courthouse, we're not going to have that. It's really just a redundancy, but we can do without it out the jail because she won't be front and center. That'll be. So if she takes leave, the COs literally cross-train them for every detail, including that. So we can get by with 1 there because we have a redundancy with other staff. We just don't have that unless I put a captain in there to sit there on vacation. I mean, it just doesn't work. So that's the problem, and we sell the pistol permits or process pistol permits. We do the fingerprinting. I don't think any of that's going anywhere. I think people will still come to here for that. And
Do you think, so if the decision is made to do away with security in this building when we ship the judges over to the new courthouse, does that free anything up in your budget then?
Yeah, it would. We wouldn't, if, my understanding is we weren't doing security here. So if
Right.
we are, we'd need 4 COs because we need 2 people for this and 2 people for that. I personally don't recommend that. We're here. We
Right.
can respond pretty efficiently.
The only way I phrase it like that is because the commission hasn't made the decision. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think we need security in the administrative place, given the fact that you all will be downstairs.
Right.
But I just, the technical decision hadn't been made yet. But
Right.
I'm just wondering for the purposes of freeing up monies within the budget, whether getting rid of those positions helps with, offsetting other costs that you're asking for.
We're not getting rid of those positions. If we don't do the security here, they will go to the new courthouse and do that same job there.
Okay,
We just won't need them here.
okay,
But then we've added the control room, the person to operate the doors, and monitor all the courtrooms. And we've added, I think, we're up to 6 courthouses now, or courtrooms. So I think adding 2 additional would be bare minimum and kind of a test run. And we've got a couple part-timers that we're gonna be able to kind of figure that out, if we can do it with those people and eventually replace the part-timers because they're college-age kids, that then replace them with full-time. But if we don't need them, we'll know. If we
right,
got people standing around, so.
okay.
That's our goal, is to get in there at the end of this year with 2 part-timers and make sure in 2027 we know what we need.
Okay, thank you.
And Sheriff, I believe that it may not have been formalized, but I believe we've had that conversation in the past that we will not be keeping this security.
And that was my understanding, and that's what I built my budget on.
Okay.
Is there any public comment on Sheriff's report? I want to tell you, you must have spent a lot of time on this, Steve, and I congratulate you because I think that's the most comprehensive evaluation and information that I've seen for a long time. From the detail, from the money, from all of the services that you provide. So I give you a kudo on that.
Thank
I'm
you.
very impressive on that.
Amen.
And I say this not just to be flowery, but I understand why we are probably the best sheriff's department in the state of South Dakota. And I say that with pride, and I think all of you should as well. So,
Thank you, Commissioner.
any other comments? If not, we're going to move on. By the way, Commissioner Landine had a court case to take care of. So we're going to move to item number 9, which is the request for a vehicle. So, Sheriff?
So in my budget for this year, I budgeted $70,000 for a Ford Transit van. And can I get this on the screen? Not that, but what I'm putting down here.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. It's up. So this, we have one of these currently. We bought it in 2024. We paid $57,000 for it, and then the retrofit. So I can't find that van yet, and I haven't tried very hard, to be honest with you. But if you can see how that's set up, you can see the step there. In order for the staff to get the inmates in the back seat, they have to literally crawl into the van in a meeting, one of the transporters said, that van is not very safe, and
No.
so we have 2 of those vans. Anyway, long story short, I want you to see the layout and a picture, a deputy with a gun, handcuffs, a prisoner in shackles, trying to get him in those back seats. It makes sense. So for 4 months, I've been working on trying to find a bus that you can do state bids. Like it's been interesting, but I finally found one. I thought I had some found, but they need 2 seats, so they call that a co-pilot version. So it's the Starcraft Starlight. And I found these on Sourcewell, and their quote they gave me was the same for both. This is a 2022 Freightliner. The interior is the exact same. It's set up where They can walk down walk and set the inmates in. Clearly a much safer option. The good news is when I started looking, they were $120,000 to $140,000, so I didn't think it would be cost effective. But once I got tied up with Sourcewell, this Freightliner is $85,900 and it's a 2022, but it is brand new. And I saw that in my Google searches that there's a lot of them that are 2-3 years old but have never been driven. So it's apparently pretty common. And then there's a 2024 Mercedes, and believe it or not, it's $85,900. So it's the same price. The only thing I would want to do is vet the maintenance, because I've heard Mercedes are a little more difficult to maintenance because only Mercedes can work on them. So what I'm asking the commission is to let me vet these two vans and use the Sourcewell quote, or these two buses, and increase. Actually, I'm not going to need any more funds in my budget because our jail numbers are way below what we've budgeted for. And they'd have to triple for us to use so we would have the money in our current budget to cover this $16,000, and I think it makes our people much safer.
Any more questions for Steve?
So you're telling us the old days of using an old bread truck with 2 benches in it on each side are over?
Yeah, well, we could try it. Might want to up our insurance.
Okay, is there any public comment on this request? Seeing none, and any further questions, we need a motion.
So moved, Otten.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Otten and a second by Commissioner Aaron's. Further comments, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Putnam? No? Oh, sorry. Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Steve.
Thank you.
Item number 10. Terry?
Morning, Commissioners.
Think about it.
Terry Floyd, Highway Superintendent. All right. Oh, there you go. What did I do? I made it small. Thanks, Carter. All right. This will be my department review and outlook. We collaborate, we do safety, we do maintenance on about 325 miles of county road that we take care of. About 44 of those are gravel, the rest of that is asphalt road, paved road. We have about just shy of 160 structures that we're responsible for, meaning bridges, large box culverts that classify as a bridge, which is anything over 20 foot in length. And we work with 30 different entities, subdivisions, townships, municipalities, other counties in the things we do. Our equipment, we have about 140 pieces of equipment out there. This is all the equipment, all attachments that we have out there. And our staff, currently we have about 22 staff, full-time staff, 21, I think, something like that. That'll include seasonals. Typically we have 2 seasonals for summertime and we have 1 seasonal for wintertime. And again, right now we are fully staffed with the exception of the engineer that we have budgeted for, which has been a struggle to try to find one of them. Going over 25 in review, some of the projects we did. Last year, we did full depth reclamation on County Road 134. We upgraded some culverts on that. On that as well, we did base stabilization in there, and then we paved that ourselves as well. We did 7 miles of that last year. Like I said, this picture here is a picture of our group on the box culvert we had set. We did all the digging, all the dirt work. And then we hired a crane guy to come in and set the sections for us, and we helped put them all together. So, first time we did that, so, that went really well, for us this year. Costs, I think, we probably saved some money doing it ourselves, which is a good thing. Other projects, for road projects, we had micro mill and a micro surface on County Road 106, County Road 105, and County Road 116, which is all up in kind of the northwest part of the county up there. Bridge projects, we had 3 bridges that we had preservation projects on. Again, these were all big grants that we got from the South Dakota DOT. This picture here, right here, this is a picture of the bridge down at Hudson, crossing the Big Sioux River. Again, this one here, they had to totally replace abutment walls on that. Again, this is just a picture of that. The other one we had done was the Beloit Bridge that crosses over just south of town here. We had that one done. We had to replace some drainage ends and do some different work on that. We put approach slabs on that one as well. And then we also had one that is on old Highway 17 or County Road 105, kind of down in the southern part of the county. That got major rehab on it, or it's called preservation, but we did a lot of work, replace abutments on it and such, extended abutment walls up and on it, because we had some girder issues on that. 25 in review, permits. We had 108 oversized, overweight permits that we issued last year. We had 11 access permits and 21 utility permits. And then innovation is local, state, and regional contest winner for creating an undercarriage belly wash. So this is something that gets awarded out at the local roads conference every year. Kind of a Build a Better Mousetrap creation. And we ended up submitting for an underbelly washer. And we ended up winning the local or the state one, and we won the regional one as well. So we got nice little plaques to hang up in the break room out there. So 26 projects. So right now, we're getting close to getting underway here. We have the roundabout project up at 116, 105 up there. We have mill and overlay on 124 and County Road 117. That's around the Worthing area. We do have full depth reclamation and stabilization on County Road 140. That's going to be about 4.5 miles that we're going to do this year. In our microsurfacing, it's going to be on 102, County Road 102, 111, 110, and 117. And again, I'll talk about this a little more in one of my next items that's coming up. We end up having to move the micro project from that we had in the plans for this year. We end up moving that to possibly in 27. So we're going to use the funds that we have for the 26 money for microing. We're going to do that with 27's micro project. We're going to do it this year though. So, but I'll talk about that more when we talk about I got a couple more items. Bridge projects. We have 2 bridge projects. One is a federal grant that we received. This is a removal. This is an old bridge. It's in the southwest part of the county. It's on a dead road down there. Basically, we got a grant to remove it, so it doesn't have to be on the system anymore. And then the other one is just west of town here, and then south a couple miles. We got a replacement grant for this, and again, these grants are at 100%, both of these. So the other thing we have going on this year, we will be applying for an implementation grant. Again, that's that'll be for the ethanol plant road down there, County Road 143 down there. So 27 projects. So the hope is, the first item I have on here is reconstruction of County Road 143. Again, that includes the intersection at the north end up at 152. So we're hoping to get a grant for that. and again, we'll flow into something different if we don't get the grant. Right now, again, 5 years ago, when we started putting this process, in a plan, getting it all going, cost estimate at that time was just over $5 million. So 5 years later, 4 years later here, I'm guessing we're probably going to be pushing 8. I'm guessing maybe $8 million. But again, hopefully, this would be an SS4A, Safe Streets for All grant, implementation grant if we get it. So it would be 80% funded. Again, this is a federal grant, so we would end up with 20% of that cost. The next project we have will be an overlay project on County Road 152. Again, that'll be about 14 miles of overlay we'll have to do down there. Bridge project, we're looking at a box replacement. Right now, we're kind of, again, we're still planning this out, trying to see what we need to put in this place, put in this, where this bridge is. We were thinking we'd like to do a precast box and we could do it ourselves, but if this pegs out to be too large of a structure, we may have to bid this project. Like I said, we're trying to get numbers together on that, hopefully here in the next month or so. Other things we'll have, an AI pavement condition indexing program. Right now, we're looking at one, and we went out and we drove a couple roads, and it's actually, it gives you a lot of information, a lot of feedback. It'll help us in programming when projects need to happen on certain road segments. Again, this is something we're going to be looking at coming up next year probably. Right now, we're just in the trial phase of this program, and I will say with these pavement condition programs, these AI ones, I know there's several counties across the state, they're signing up on these, and maybe the good thing is, everybody's got a different one. So, a year from now, a year and a half from now, we'll be able to come together and say, well, oh, I like yours better than mine, I might jump ship or something like that, so. Another thing we'd like to do next year, we need to update the master transportation plan. That'll be 8 years since we've had that updated. So, and again, that'll with the completion of the safety action plan that we'll be doing this year, this will be a great time to update the master plan. So all this kind of fits in together in the master transportation plan. And the other thing we're going to be looking at doing probably next year is County Road 135, which is through the park down here. We're planning on maybe doing some more monitoring, the slide area there. We're going to have to do some more engineering on that, just to see. 2 years ago, when we did some study on it, and we found that the slide, when we had dug it out after 2019, we were down probably about 18 feet. We had the roadway dug out in this area. Put it all back. 3 years later, it's starting to, just a little bit of settling going on. Well, we had a study done. Well, it comes to find out that the slide area is about 28 feet down. So we're going to look and see if it's still continuing to slide, what the progress, what the rate is, to see if we need to do a project on that. And if we do, it might be a project that's going to happen, again, it's probably 28.9, something like that, so. 2027 department needs, we will be requesting an additional mechanic this year for the shop. With all the equipment that we have, there's just a lot of things that we're doing in-house. And if we can do it in-house, it saves money from having to outsource it. So, and right now, we could use a second guy full-time, because our guy is running around, and he's just running his head off. So, luckily, in the slow times, in the winter months, we have a guy that kind of is stepping in and been helping him all winter, trying to keep stuff together, repairs, going through different equipment, making sure it's going to be operational for the next season. So, equipment, we'll be looking at snow removal stuff, plows, wings, sanders. Again, for 2 trucks. 2 trucks we're purchasing this year, And I believe that I think they're in Sioux Falls now, they arrived, so, we'll be needing, budgeting for that equipment for '27. And then the other thing we'll have will be a mower tractor, that we're gonna be budgeting for to replace one of our mower tractors, so. With that, that's all I had for my presentation. You got any questions for me?
Questions for Terry?
Terry, what is the plan or how are things going with the bridge by Lake Elvin there?
Oh, yeah, it is, that one, we missed that one. So, we're being held up a little bit with environmentals on that. It is in the plan for this year to be done. But the environmentals we're waiting for at the federal level, and with the government shutdowns last fall, you know, and the one that just recently happened a couple months ago here, a month ago, whatever it was, they're putting us behind. So we're still positive that we'll get approvals, the environmental approvals on these yet this year. We are hoping to go to bid maybe late next month, opening bids early May or something, and still be on course for this year.
Yeah, thank you for that update. Have the people who conduct those studies that are the cause of the holdup, have they come out to, is it a situation where they physically do an inspection, or is it based on the documentary?
It's just, they gotta run through the documents. Yep. And, you know, and they're short-staffed. I think federal staff, you know, all over is short. People left, they didn't hire them back, or they cut staffing, you know, so things are taking a lot longer.
Understood. Thank you for the update.
Excellent presentation, thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment on Terry's presentation? Hearing none, Terry, we'll move on to item, I think you probably got the remainder of the show here, but let's go with number 11.
All right. I'm here to consider a motion to approve the purchase of a DCT 7-foot by 18-foot with a 2-foot flatbed trailer with two 7,000-pound axles for the weed department from Abar-K with a price of $6,450. I have 3 other quotes, and this one here was the lowest. This is a budgeted item for the weed department, so.
You have that in the budget.
Yep.
Any questions for Terry? Any public comment on this item? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, Otten.
Motion by Aaron, second by Otten. No discussion. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 12, Terry.
Here a few weeks ago, we had bid openings for the microsurface project, which was supposed to be County Road 152. But we had noticed some issues going on with the road, the surface of the road, before we opened bids, and we had to make a decision on what we were going to do. And we feel that the road needs a different treatment than this. So even though we let them proceed, we bidded. So I'm here to consider a motion to reject the bid for the 2026 micro surfacing project with the low bidder was Aztec and $545,323. But we would like to reject all bids on this project.
Terry, what will need to be done there?
We're gonna have to put another mat on it.
Okay.
The issue was, so when we looked at it October, November last year, we were driving it, getting planned up for this micro surface project. It was in excellent shape. And then winter came, and there was a huge influx of truck traffic. Huge. I mean, I believe what happened is, the detour from sort of State 46 was supposed to be off, which it is, but their road is so rough that none of them trucks are taking their road. So once we found out we started having issues down there, we threw up a load limits on it, and that dropped truck traffic down like 80%, 90%. So, and when I'm talking truck traffic, I'm talking doubles and triples and centipedes and just the big heavy hauls.
Yeah, so basically, we got the brunt of the detour, and now we gotta deal with the fallout.
Well, the one good thing is it's 2 years. It lasted 2 years without, 2.5 years without having any issue. You know, and it held 2.5 years, 2 years of their detour. You know, and we're not really sure what happened, because in the spots that are breaking up, you know, we're digging down and the base is just hard yet. So it's not a base issue. We just think that the asphalt thickness probably just isn't enough to haul for that kind of loads, for that many loads. You know, so we have a plan going forward. Again, that's probably gonna happen maybe 27, or it might happen in 28. We'll have to see once, how that works out, so.
Any other questions concerning our highway superintendent's request, or is there any public comment? Hearing none, commissioners, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, although I'll be voting against it.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yeah, second.
Have a second, and you have comment? Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Otten?
No.
Aaron's?
No.
Schmidt?
No. That's been rejected. Item number 13, Terry.
All right, so this one here, again, we just rejected bids for a microsurface for that project down there. We're gonna move that project up north where 27 micro was gonna be, so we're gonna do it this year since we have the funds. The miles are the same as we're gonna do this year, so they're gonna be the same up on that project. So looking to consider a motion to authorize us to advertise for bids for the 26 micro project. And again, this is gonna be County Road 106, no. It's gonna be 110, 117, 111, and 102.
Any questions for Terry? Any public comment? Hearing none, we need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second, Otten.
Motion by Aaron, second by Otten. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes. Item 14, Terry.
Next item, this will be consider a motion to approve the highway superintendent to purchase mag water from Envirotech Services for $1.67 a gallon applied. This is an item that is on our supply bids. When we had our supply bid opening, we had received no bids. So per the statute stated below, I'm able to go around and get some quotes. Again, this is the only one I could find. So my recommendation is that we hire Envirotech to do our mag watering this year.
Any questions for Terry on this?
No.
Any public comment? Hearing none, we need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second, Otten.
Motion by Aaron, second by Otten. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes. Item 15.
Next one is to consider a motion to purchase metal culverts and bridge materials off the Beetle County bid from True North Steel. Again, this is just an item that typically Beetle County bids every year, and then True North Steel sends that bid packet out to all the counties if they want to buy off their bid. So that's what we're looking to do.
Any questions for Terry on this? Any public comment? Hearing none, we need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Otten.
Motion by Otten, second by Aaron's. Will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes. Item 16, Terry.
Next item will be consider a motion to purchase culvert linings off of the Union County bid. Again, this is a budgeted item, and typically we'll do about $60,000 or $70,000 worth of culvert lining rather than replacements, depending on the roadway. It is a benefit to us. That way we don't have to close down the road, especially if it's a higher traffic area, so.
Any further questions for Terry? Any public comment? Hearing none, we need a motion, please.
Motion to approve, Otten.
Second.
Motion by Otten, second by Aaron's. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes. Item 17, Terry.
Item 17 is consider a motion to purchase base one stabilizing agent from Team Lab Chemical off the Harding County bid. Again, this is the product we'll be using for full depth reclamation on County Road 104, or 140, excuse me.
Any questions for our highway superintendent? Any public comment? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second, Otten.
Motion by Aaron, seconded by Commissioner Otten. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes. Item 18.
Next item is consider a motion to purchase off of Harding County's bid for milling and reclaiming rental with an operator. So again, this is, includes a milling, layback, compacting, injection of the stabilizing agent. Again, this will be used down on County Road 140 for 4.5 miles. So,
Questions for Terry?
No.
Public comment? Hearing none? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second, Otten.
Motion by Aaron, second by Commissioner Otten. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes. Our last item, number 19.
all right, last item I have is consider a motion to authorize the Highway Department to advertise for bids for crushed gravel. Again, we're looking to do about 20 or 40,000, or 20 to 30,000, 35,000 ton of crushed gravel this year. That's what we're going out to bid for. I will say, the call for bids that we have here, we do have a typo on there. I noticed a typo on that. Everything says that we're gonna be opening bids on April 8th, which we will be. But on the sheet that I attached, for calling for crushed bids, on the bottom it says April 8th, but in the top it says May 1st. I don't know why. I don't know how that got changed, but, so we are opening these bids on April 8th, so.
Terry, question.
Yep.
Does the county still have a gravel pit?
Yes.
And
we do.
then, so the question I have is there financial sense in putting, a request out for that if we still have our own gravel? Or can you explain how all that works?
Yeah, so it was probably been 18, 19, right around in there, 18, 19, I think it was when I first took over. We needed to crush more gravel, and at that time, we were running out of our pit. And so we did some, I think it was American Engineering or Geotech go down there and do some testing down there. Just because the last crush that we had out of there, which was probably 15, 16-ish, 2016, something like that, it wasn't very good gravel. I mean, it was really sandy. So we had them come down and did some exploration on that. And we have gravel there, but it's very sandy gravel, and it's not worth, to me, it's not worth trying to pull that gravel out of there and add the material you need to make it a good gravel. So we've been purchasing gravel, so you get about a half a mile, 3/4 miles to the south of our pit. There was a new pit that opened up probably about 10 years ago or so, and that's where we've been, that's who's been getting the bid to do our crushing out of that pit, so.
Do we need to start looking at, I know that this is a little off topic, but since I got you here, I mean, are we gonna keep it open in order to mine sand, or?
I mean, right now, we use it for, like a material stockpile. So when we're cutting trees, hauling brush or whatever, typically we'll haul it down there, pile it up, pile gets so big, and then usually the Fairview Fire Department comes down and burns a pile for us type thing. But we do have rock pile down there that we still pull out of. And again, that was rock that we purchased from that other gravel pit off of the crushing, the rock too big. And we use that material around bridges when we have washouts under bridges. We just throw that down as a base, and then we pack it on top, clay on top of that, and then we do our riprap on top of that. So we have other piles down there. We have a asphalt millings pile down there. We have some clay pile down there, some black dirt piles down there that we do pull out of yet. So, but again, nothing out of that pit. I mean, we haven't crushed anything out of there. It's been probably at least 10 years, I would think.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
what's that? No, we would probably do, we've looked at doing, millings with the gravel, doing like a 50-50 mix, but.
Further questions for Terry? Any public comment? A new motion.
Motion to approve Otten.
Second.
Motion by Otten, second by Aaron's. You call the roll, please.
Commissioner Otten?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for everything else. Next, we have on our agenda, opportunity for public comment. If there anybody from the public that wishes to make a comment that isn't on the agenda, now is your time to come forward. We have 5 minutes.
Good morning, Bill Thorson, Viber. I got a question first. Your minutes approved for your county commission is the official record of the county, is that correct?
Yes.
No legal there, he was kind of busy. Your minutes are your legal record of your county meetings, correct? And approved, right? Okay. Let's talk about ag land classifications. I know back, Board of Assessment in April, there was a system, or a situation brought up where you had a resolution back in 2009 saying the county brings minimum of ag land from 20 to 40 acres, because state law is 20 acres, correct? So you brought that up, but it was stated for the tax year 2011. And I think back in April, we had the Board of Assessment, the chair at the time, Madam Chair, who's not here right now, of course, but she agreed that that was worded improperly and not valid. So in August 26 of 25, the assessors brought back another resolution, moving it from 20 acres to 40 acres. Commissioner, let's see, briefing. First motion was approve resolution determining minimum acre for land classification to be 20 acres. 2 ayes, 3 nays, motion failed. Motion by another commissioner, and I won't say names or anything, but to have agricultural land classification remain the same, which technically would have left it at 20 acres, I believe, if you would have read that right. But anyway, ayes 2, nays 3, motion failed. So technically, you're still at 20 acres. And taxes have gone out now. I tried to get a hold of the assessor this morning, but they were all busy up there and so on. So I don't know if that's still gone out as 40 acres now or 20 acres, but that's something that probably needs to be looked at. And it was also printed in the paper by your minutes the same way. And in September, when you approved it through the consent agenda, nobody read those minutes to see if they were right. And I think at that time, you said it affected like 150 properties for different classification of taxes. So maybe those people out there that could be changing that should be getting hold of the Board of Assessment and saying, maybe we need to look at that.
Bill, what's the date on that agenda, or that minutes there?
The first one was August 26th. You approved them, I believe, on September 2nd. Got this all off your county website too, by the way. So, and as one guy used to say, now you know the rest of the story.
Okay. Thank you, Bill, for bringing that up. That's something need to be checked on. Now we have our commission office report.
Yeah, Paul Anderson, Commission Administrative Officer, Assistant Admin. Not going to do anything too crazy today. Some movement in property tax bills in Pier. Waiting for the Senate, I think, has to concur on 245, which is $110 million in property tax relief. There were a few other changes. Session is wrapping up, so you will see a presentation from me on all bills that were passed and signed that will affect the county either in our next meeting on the 24th, I believe, is that date, or the first meeting in April. So look forward to that, and I will have more information once everything's settled and signed we'll have a lot more information. So, thank you.
Opportunity for commission report on any activities that they have participated in the past
Mr.
week.
Chair, I do. On February 25th, there was a 2-hour defensive driver training that was offered through the county here, which I did partake of. And then on 3/5, March 5th, we had an 8-county district meeting again for 8 counties, and that was 180 miles round trip for me, and for the rest of you that attended, probably pretty close to that. So I wanted to bring that up because in January, when we were talking about commission salaries, many of the commissioners go to these meetings all the time. One does not, and so when the January commission salaries were brought up, I just wanted to remind people that the commissioners do not receive travel or mileage reimbursement. Thank you.
Yeah, Betty, that was district, I don't know, we get 6 of those, and there's a lot of miles. Long way to Tyndall.
It is a long way to Tyndall.
Long way to Tyndall and back. Any other commissioner errands?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Schmidt. So I had the opportunity yesterday to participate in a data center conversation with the Sioux Falls Rotary. Commissioner Schmidt was there. I don't know, there were probably, 200 people there having dinner? Something to that effect. And I had the opportunity to sit on a panel and provide input to the Rotary members about my views and beliefs on the data centers. And it was a good discussion. And it was good to hear from people about what their views are as well. To that end, last night in Wessington Springs, the community voted down a data center rezone. That failed. And then in Dual County, it was just announced that Applied Technologies is pulling out of their effort in Dual County. They don't see a path forward to build their data center there either. So clearly the trajectory here in the state of South Dakota on these data centers is moving in the opposite direction of the direction they went in Sioux Falls. And yeah, that's what I've got to report for today.
And Commissioner, may I add one thing? Sure. We had a bill that was on yesterday. It came before the Senate, and it was House Bill 1253, and it was to adjust the methodology of owner-occupied single families. I want you to know that I know that Department of Equalization is on the House on the hot seat right now, but Carla Guzan has been on top of these bills like you cannot believe, but before that was voted on, she sent out a one-pager regarding this bill and why it was wrong for Lincoln County and for the rest of the counties, and because of her efforts, it was defeated 14-20. So I wanted to give Carla the heads up because she knew what was wrong with this, and it was, she sent that one-pager to all of the senators. So I appreciate her proactive approach.
Thank you, Betty. I'm going to give you, last Saturday night, we had the 4-H Raise the Roof fundraiser, and it was well-attended by, I don't know, they had their usual crowd. They were certainly an active group of bidders, and I don't know the actual amount of money that was raised. There were several unique auctions that were had. Wendy can probably describe one where they bottled the aroma of the former stockyards, and they put this in a jar with the name on it, and then they auctioned it off several times, and finally one young man, Matt Bogue, bought that and asked him if he was going to do that, and he was going to give that to the governor as a reminder of what a stockyard smelled like. Anyway, The other, couple of other things, I testified on two bills, or on one bill, Senate Bill 96, which is the governor's bill that will be signing into law, which will allow counties to enact a half-cent sales tax. I'm sure that's something that'll come before us and our body, and we'll have to discuss how we wish to implement that. And the other one is House Bill 245, which, as you know, the sales tax is at 4.2%, which will be going to 4.5%. And that added revenue generated from that is proposed to be put in a fund which will be disseminated to counties for property tax relief. So there are two major bills out there that will definitely affect owner-occupied taxes coming up in our near future. So I think that's something that we can say the legislature has acted, and we can be critical of them sometimes, but they do things sometimes that are okay as well. So is there any, we need a executive session at all?
No, but I would clarify, yes, the board meeting minutes are official, but whatever the official act was during the meeting, so oral motion, how it actually was stated, we'll need to go back and look at the record. That would be the official action and not necessarily the meeting minutes, so just wanted to correct that for the record.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Drew. Any other final comments? If there's nothing else to come in front of the commission, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.